Genuine Draft 400 is brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft taste. So get out of the old, get into the cold. By New Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. By Lipton Iced Tea in cans and bottles. Sometimes you feel like a softer soft drink. By Goodyear, the unanimous choice of every NASCAR Winston Cup team. And by today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why more people are winning with the heartbeat of America.
This beautiful three-quarter mile rather, is Richmond International Raceway, one of the nation's most modern racing facilities. And tonight takes a giant step backwards as Short Track Saturday Night returns to Richmond, Virginia. Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Joy, welcoming you to TBS live coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 400. This place is filled, teeming with 61,000 race fans. There has not been a ticket available for sale since June. This place is just packed to the rafters to enjoy the talents of 36 of the finest stock car racing drivers in the world, set not only to entertain them and you, but to race for over $500,000. The two drivers that will start on the front row are an interesting contradiction. They've each had up and down seasons, victories and disappointments. Let's meet them now with the editor of Stock Car Racing magazine, Dick Berggren.
Well, Rusty Wallace is on the pole for the second time this year. He's got 2 wins on the season. He was absolutely dominant in practice and qualifying, but that's not the same as winning the race. Rusty, what are your concerns right about now?
My concern's just messing up, something going wrong. Everything's going perfect all week long. Car's really been handling well, and I just hope that thing stays handling well tonight. The motor's running really good. Car's been right. I just want to put this Pontiac up in victory lane one more time this year, at least one more.
And starting on the outside pole for the 4th time this year is Alan Kulwicki. Now, he was leading this race here in the springtime when his crew let him down, a muff pit stop, and that was that. But they brought their strongest weapon for this race tonight, the same car that he used to win the Bristol race with it. Alan, how hard you going to have to run tonight to win this thing?
Well, you're going to have to be there at the end, and it's one thing, the more I race, the more I learn. You got to stay out of trouble. So, you know, I think we're going to have to set a pretty fast pace. It's going to be cool and fast tonight, but you got to stay out of trouble early.
And working pit road with me tonight is the Dean of American Motorsports Journalist, the editor of National Speed Sport News, Chris Economaki.
Thank you, Dick. Well, I'm next to Dale Earnhardt, a man on his way to a 5th national championship, but he's buried back here in 16th position. Dale, would you rather this were a daytime race, or do you like it at night?
Well, if we get up to the front and race with the front leaders and try to win, we'll like it at night, but it really doesn't make a difference. We run last night, sort of got used to it. Got a good idea of what the track's going to do as far as cooling off, how much you have to loosen up and tighten up for that. So I think we're in good shape.
I know. Thank you very much, Dale. And now let's go topside and meet the captain of the announcing crew that will call the races today, Mr. Ken Gimpy Squire.
All right, thank you, Chris. It is the Richmond Raid we're about to experience out of here. 36 NASCAR Warriors ready to begin this assault. They'll be hitting the beaches in just a moment. And the prize, over $600,000 total for the action this evening. That will cover 300 miles, 400 laps. We're delighted to have working with us again tonight Neil Bonnet, and along here as well Ken Stabler. You've been down taking a look at things in the garage, Jerry, today. Lights, new trick. What do you think they're going to do out here with these lights tonight?
Well, I talked to Tim Brewer, the crew chief on the Junior Johnson Ford, and I talked to Dale Jarrett, the Citgo Ford, and they both basically said the same thing, Ken. A little bit of a glare problem in turn 4 that they're a little bit worried about, but I think they like the fact that the track will be cooler. The cooler weather will let them develop a little bit more horsepower, but I think the common reason they both like it is they'll get a Sunday off.
And Neil Bonnet, as we get ready for tonight, there's one thing about it. This track is going to say rock solid constant for these 36 competitors.
Ken, and that's unusual. You know, last night at the Busch race, we had a bunch of the Winston Cup drivers run that race as a test bed for tonight. Not only did some of the drivers run, a lot of the mechanics and crew chiefs stayed over and see what the characteristics would be of a cool racetrack at night. We don't have any sun to deal with. These guys were pleasantly surprised that the track does not do any changing. So if that's the case, all these cars have been preparing all day long
in this Miller 400, and let's take a look at the 3/4 mile course over which they'll be competing.
Thank you, Ken. This track was built from the old Richmond Fairgrounds half mile using part of the backstretch in turn 3 where new grandstands already existed. They brought around the front stretch in a curving fashion so that all these seats would have an unobstructed view. It measures 3/4 mile around, and the turns are symmetrical. They're each banked 14 degrees at either end. The curving front stretch carries an 8-degree banking. The back stretch for drainage, water runoff in the event of rain is banked 2 degrees. The most difficult parts on this track, as proven last night, Neil Bonnet alluded to, turn number 2 especially. You notice as the cars come through 1, they have a very sharp radius to negotiate here, hard on the throttle. And the breakaway characteristics of the radial tires got some drivers in trouble up there last night. That'll be one spot to watch. Turn 4 is the other as they come off turn number 4 and back into that curving front straightaway. The track tends to tighten up on you, and you wish you had a little more racing room. Those are the tough spots here. Let's go back up top to Ken Squire.
And let's take a look at the starting grid tonight, the Haviland starting grid for these 36 competitors rolling down races in that championship season of '89. Alan Kowicki will be alongside, who was the race winner at Bristol under the lights earlier this year. Row 2. There you find Davey Allison. His first win was on the first one of his 3/4 mile track was by Davey. Mark Martin is on the outside, still looking for his first win in '91. Row 3, Bobby Hamilton, outstanding rookie, is there. And Ernie Irvin has had a couple of Winston Cup wins this season. Row 4, that's Ricky Rudd. And Kyle Petty will start alongside, making his second start since those injuries earlier this year at Talladega. In row 5, the guy who's won 14 races under the lights, Darrell Waltrip, and alongside the winner at Atlanta and Dover this year, Ken Schrader. Going to row 6, there you have Hut Strickland and Bobby Allison's Buick, and Rick Mast, the former winner here in Grand National ranks. Row 7 is Harry Gant, and alongside is Bill Elliott. In row 8 tonight, Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt, the 5-time winner here at Richmond. In row 9, it's Jimmy Spencer in the Travis Carter car, and Jeff Bodine. For row 10, 13-time winner at Richmond, Richard Petty, and Terry Labonte, the '84 Winston Cup champion. Row 11 tonight is Brett Bodine in the Kenny Bernstein Buick, and Derek Cope, a strong 4th last week over at Darlington. In row 12, Greg Sachs out of Mattituck, New York, and the famous Larry Pearson, that second-generation driver, could be strong tonight. Row 13 is Dale Jarrett, and alongside the Colorado campaigner Wally Dallenbach Jr. Row 14, Florida's Rick Wilson, and Lake Speed is there. Row 15, it'll be Kenny Wallace making his 3rd start of the year in Winston Cup, and Chad Little. For row 16 tonight, Michael Waltrip deep in the field, and Morgan Shepherd in the Bud Moore Ford. Row 17, Dave Marcus, who's won twice here at Richmond, and Joe Ruttman, California campaigner and native. Row 18 is Teddy Musgrave, another fine rookie talent in NASCAR, and Jimmy Means, the veteran out of Huntsville, Alabama, rounding out the field. That's the Haviland starting grid as we prepare for action this evening in this Miller 400. They've completed the preliminary laps, made that run down pit road, a 40-mile-per-hour mark on pit road this evening, Neil.
Ken, they said it might be flexible enough to do between 50 miles an hour, so these guys are getting a good feel on pit road.
Here you see the in-car camera picture from Mark Martin as we get set to go racing. Down to the line they come, and on the brake, that Pontiac, first Pontiac to sit on the pole here at Richmond since back in 1981 when the job was done by Mark Martin. Earlier this year, of course, Mike Waltrip put a Pontiac on the pole up at Michigan. Right out in front goes the number 2 car, Alan Kowicki, who was set on the pole here. Starting on the outside of the front row for the 14th time in his career, comes by in 2nd spot as they complete the first lap, and all 36 are away safely.
Ken, from the feel I got in the garage area, everybody wanted to know how fast is Rusty Wallace. All day in practice, yesterday and today, he's had a way superior car, and everyone's concerned about him skirting away early in the race, and he seemed to show some of that right now.
4-car length advantage, cut to 3 as he comes down once again and completes the 2nd lap. 3/4 mile track, and again where it gets real narrow is down here in turn number 2. It gobbled up several cars last night right in that 2nd turn area they're traveling at this moment. How fast in the back straightaway, Neil?
Ken, the cars are running 130, 35 miles an hour going down in that corner, and it still takes a good bit of braking to get the car slowed down, especially down going in the 1st turn.
Davey Allison line 3rd, Ernie Irvin is in 4th, and Mark Martin coming up next in the 5th spot. There you see that interval between 1st and 2nd spot as they begin to thread them out here. 400 laps. Earnhardt is on the move in the number 3 as he goes on the outside of Hut Strickland. Earnhardt trying to roll around as he starts to move up. Strickland, Elliott, and Schrader all in that picture. The number 25 being Schrader, and here's Earnhardt on the high side. leading in the Winston Cup points by 89 going into tonight's game. And what a record he has on this racetrack. Look at Bill Elliott towing off that back straightaway. Plunging on the outside down into turn number 3 as he moves around the number 25 of Schrader.
Ken, that might be you might hit the nail on the head right there when you said the outside. These cool conditions in the summertime and hot weather, it's hard to work on the outside of this racetrack. Cool, they might be able to get it out there.
Mark Martin running in the 5th position, and there's that Ford telemetry showing you the speed. No question about it, up to over 130 miles an hour on this 3/4 mile oval as he went down the back straightaway. Keeps those RPMs right up there at the peak of about, got it up to 8,300 RPMs.
Ken, if we notice that also, we're looking at 8,000 up the back straightaway, 83 down the front. The big bow in the front straightaway turns more RPM. This should be an 8,000 RPM run down through here. 8,100, he's getting in there a little better, but the front straightaway will turn the motor a little bit harder.
While watching this front straightaway and see if he can pull a few more RPMs. In Mark Martin's number 6, still looking for that first win.
Looks like 84. Jack Roush should be getting nervous here in a minute.
I don't think they've got the hand grenade in there tonight. They did that for qualifying. That's the car that maintains 5th running position. Meanwhile, back up in front, it's Wallace in the Pontiac, scooting away. Alan Kowicki's Ford is in 2nd. Davey Allison Ford is in 3rd. Then the number 4, Ernie Irvin Chevrolet in 4th, followed by Martin. Kyle Petty in 6th. Bobby Hamilton in 7th. Ricky Rudd is in 8th. Darrell Waltrip 9th. And Rick Masters in 10th. This with 8 of 400 laps complete. Great race last night was won by Harry Gant, and we'll have more on that in a Goodyear Racing update with Mike Joy a little later on. That a terrific race.
And I'm not so sure we aren't seeing these guys be a little bit more cautious after what we saw early last night. A lot of problems in turn 2. These guys are taking a little bit more easy tonight.
I'll watch them as they approach turn number 3, and there you see those front 5 cars. Now the front 2, that's Kowicki, and then those next 3 all grouped together are Allison, Irvin, Martin, coming down through, and you really get the sense of a D here from this great picture. Got a big smash up in turn number 3 and 4. We've collected some cars, and it looks serious for Derek Cope. One car still resting out there in the center of the track. Michael Waltrip's number 30 is coming down on pit road, and there you see the 41 of Larry Pearson bent up. This is happening at lap 10.
Looks like they got wadded up. Several of them got in a bind getting down in the corner. I noticed Larry Pearson running a little bit high earlier, and looked like they got tangled up getting down in 3.
Kellogg's car, number 41 for Larry Pearson out of Spartanburg, South Carolina. Bruised, battered, and coming to a whoa just as you enter turn 3. And that's the one point out there where if you need to get on the binders, you need them a lot, and the car can get out from beneath you, and away you go, out of the races.
Yeah, and the skid marks going in 3 are way back entering the corner, so they must have had a problem on entry, and then he went directly out in the outside wall.
And bounced another 150 feet down the track before he finally got it whoa. Rusty Wallace is out in front. We're under caution. More from Richmond momentarily.
we need to set up True Value when you get a chance.
Spark Plug presents NASCAR Legend. In the late 50s, Dub Phillips was a name to be reckoned with in South Carolina. Had raggedy race cars, but the best winning record on those old red clay tracks. In '61, Dub Phillips went to the 600 in Charlotte, North Carolina. Used his own name, not the alias. He scored what the experts called an upset, won by 2 laps. And David Pearson became a name to be reckoned with in the history of motorsport. David Pearson's career spanned 26 years, producing 105 victories, second only to Richard Petty at 200. He claimed 3 Winston Cup championships and the record for the most career superspeedway wins at 44. Pearson won with every team he drove for, but his most memorable days were spent with the Wood brothers, winning 43 times in 143 starts. Nowadays, David Pearson remains close to home in Spartanburg, South Carolina, where he enjoys retirement, and just last weekend was inducted into the NMPA Motorsports Hall of Fame. Another glorious moment in his spectacular career. David Pearson, alias Dub Phillips, truly a champion spark plug NASCAR legend.
We're still under the first caution of the evening at 16 laps here in Richmond, Virginia. True Value hardware stores post $5,000 at each race and $50,000 in year-end awards to the hardest chargers. Here's the way the point standings sit coming into Richmond. Already Rusty Wallace has picked up 50 points for leading those first 10 laps. Ken?
Ready to go back to racing with 15 complete, going back to green. David Pearson into the Hall of Fame, and his son out of the race here at Richmond in that crash taking place in turn number 3.
Again, looks like they got a big jump on this thing. There's some cars back in the back really making a good move. Rusty's still showing that strength out front, but they're really shuffling around back behind him a little bit. Rusty seems to be able to have things under control right now.
Leader coming by with a 2-car length advantage, the 1989 champion here, Rusty Wallace. Pontiac has won this race only once, and it was Rusty Wallace who pulled it off. He now gets himself a 4-car length advantage, but on the outside, trying to make a move is Ernie Urban, and we've got a spin and a crash in turn 2. It looks like Schrader might have got collected there. Indeed, number 25, Ken Schrader, is bringing out the second caution of the day, this at lap number 17. In that critical corner, that calamity corner, turn 2, where we had so much action in a Grand National race a night ago.
One thing we're seeing, Ken, down in turn 2 is the availability to be able to use that track out there. Before, it was like a no man's land. These cool conditions, they get out there, they pinch a car down the inside, and it really gets him loose coming up off the corner, and that's where we had a lot of problem last night. The last time I saw Schrader, he was right on the bottom.
So they picked up the field. Schrader has circulated around. Let's take a look again at what happened in turn 2.
There's Schrader going down in the corner. You see the skid marks way back on the entry of turn 1. He got it sideways, and that right there is the radial tire. Very little recovery. Go ahead and spin it out, stop, come get you 4 more and let her rip.
He was running 11th when that happened, and that deal on that radial tire is it'll carry you into the corner a lot longer, but when you get in trouble, you get to the edge and you're right off it before you know it.
Very little recovery time with them.
Almost none. They say it's just like driving off the edge of a cliff. You get to that edge and there's just no reprieve when you do go over the edge. So we have Schrader now on pit road taking on some new rubber. You can see that the number 6 Ford, Mark Martin, in the Jack Roush car with a lap before they turn him loose, gets himself set to make a run here from the 5th position. Just idling along at 4,700 RPMs. What's that do to your daily car?
Well, he's just going out of his home. He's fixing to blow the set out. It's like you're fixing to see a drag race maneuver here in just a second.
Pace car is in. We're ready to go racing once again. 3-car length advantage immediately established by Rusty Wallace over Alan Kulwicki. And we got a big spin. Petty and Ruttman coming to the line. Get knotted up, and they're both away. There may not be a caution. Here's Ruttman still trying to get fired. He's down to the bottom of the racetrack. Field coming around, still trying to get fired. Field is coming. Yellow is down. Ruttman trying to get that car back underway. Think he was trying to pull a flag?
No, Ken, I saw him as he was rolling down, letting the clutch out, the car jerking and jerking. It's hard to get him re-cranked like that, and he got it fired off afterwards. I'm sure he's going to be questioned, but he was actually trying to get it restarted. But passing that pace car on the back straightaway won't make it any easier.
Joe Ruttman coming down. Let's see if he's going to pit. No, he's trying to get back in this lap with the leaders. We've completed 21 laps here at Richmond. Richard did not go down a lap. And he's picked himself up a lap. I wonder if they'll take it away.
Yeah, they're putting 75 on the board right now.
Yeah.
But he's going to pit, but they'll hold him in there a lap. I tell you what, Dale's made big gains on this thing. He was passing somebody on the outside every lap. One to go. Back under green, and the Pennzoil area platform as they go through turns 1 and 2 as they come back under green, showing you this remarkable picture as you watch Rusty Wallace again drawing to that 3-car length advantage on what he calls the smoothest racetrack he's ever run on, and now he's getting another car length as he comes out of 3 and 4. The number 2 car really hitched up at the present time. Here we've got the number 4 car of Ernie Irvin and Davey Allison running side by side. They've ran like that since they dropped the green flag, and they're really battling for third position.
That's battle to third spot. Ernie Irvin in the yellow car. Davey Allison up on the high side, and it's Davey Allison making the move to get himself third spot.
And here comes Earnhardt. He started way back in the pack, and that should put him in about 5th place. He's been working on the outside of the racetrack.
Earnhardt started 16th tonight. Here he is wheeling around. Mark Martin picking up another spot. Gives him 5th. Going down into turn numbers 1 and 2 and into the back straightaway. Earnhardt, who has a remarkable record on this track. Take a look at that telemetry showing just how many RPMs are being cranked out by Mark Martin.
Kenny, that brake pedal
about tonight.
Yes, sir. That brake pedal sign on the left is showing how much braking is used. Roll out the throttle, high RPM, hit the brake, coast the car in, feed the thing back up off the corner. Quite a bit of braking used on this side of the racetrack. That has been one of the strong suits of the Ford motor lately. They've got a lot of bottom end torque in them now, and the thing is pulling from 6,700 up to 8,800 RPM is where the power is. They've still got some left on the top that they're not using right now.
Down the back straightaway, coming around to complete lap number 29. Here's Wallace around Tor, coming out of the hole, making his move up through, right with him. Alan Kulwicki stays in that second spot. Davey Allison in third, Ernie Irvin in fourth, and the man on the move, Earnhardt. Earnhardt, who's had just a remarkable run. He won here in February, won here in this race a year ago, and he had the field covered. He got in a tremendous scrap at the end of that one with Mark Martin. They beat each other up real good. Now take a look here at the 5th inning point. It's the Dodgers. L.A. Dodgers out in front tonight over the Pirates. Margin is 1-0. Keep you up on some of that this evening. Great Saturday night. This is live from Richmond. 60,000 folks. It's been sold out since June. Atlanta Braves versus the New York Mets. That's coming up tomorrow live at 1:35 here on CBS.
And we also have it 1-0 with Rusty Wallace. He's the only guy to lead this race. He's setting a pretty good pace for him right now.
Battle for third. Davey Allison, the 28, the number 4 car, Ernie Irvin. Irvin in that Chevrolet trying to overhaul the Ford of Davey Allison. Kowicki cutting a real nice line here. Wanted Bristol. He's getting stronger toward the end of the season. Out in front, Rusty Wallace. Would you like to see more night races for the Winston Cup Series, Rusty?
For the fan, I would think a night race would be much, much better. At night, I really enjoy it. For some reason, it seems to bring out the Dr. Jekyll and all the drivers for some reason. I don't know why. At least it happens at Bristol. I sure as heck hope it doesn't happen up here.
They talk about how smooth this track is. Thus far, it's bitten them for 3 caution periods. Thus far, a total of 10 laps. We've completed 34.
And it also allows them to do something else. As you see the front of that Pontiac coming down in this, the entire front area of the car is almost plugged off like qualifying. These cars are built with big radiators, look like distilleries hanging on the front of them to run at 200-degree temperature in hot weather with the motor at 200 degrees. When they come under these conditions, they can plug it up and virtually run qualifying speed during the race. They like to be able to use that power, and on a night condition like this, they can certainly do it.
Here's Chris Economac.
I'm at Rusty Wallace's pit. Roger Penske, the major owner of the team, is here on the ground. He's up in the Pontiac suite. Now, in IndyCar racing, Roger is always in the pit running seat. It's an act of faith for this man, Don Miller, his co-owner and team manager. Rare is the day that Roger Penske watches a race and does not get involved. Back to you, Ken.
Well, it's Miller-sponsored race. I think they crimped and primed a little extra for this one, got themselves on the pole, and now they'd like to duplicate 1989. What a race that was. Remember, on the last lap, Wallace ran out of gas. Barry Dotson was his crew chief. They thought they'd take the gamble. They'd either be heroes or hobos. They sure turned out to be heroes a couple of years back.
And you can also bet, even though Roger Penske is not down there in those pits, he's not watching a race without being involved. I'm sure he owns one of those radios.
Now look at this magnificent picture as these cars float around that first and second turn, head down that back straightaway. We're getting an idea about the real speed of them. Here they are into the D shape that brings us down through that 4th turn.
Big sweeping wide front straightaway.
Down into turn number 1. Look at those seats. Everyone sold out since actually the first day of June.
Well, here's a sight that we ordinarily didn't see at this racetrack. Look at these brake rotors glowing cherry red hot. Everybody from the leader all the way back is using an awful lot of brake trying to get in here, and they've got the brakes just lit up. It's quite a sight from the infield, Ken.
And I'm not so sure some of that's not coming from the fact that they're able to use all the horsepower in these cars. When I'm seeing the RPM I'm seeing in the mile per hour from inside the cars, they're sending them off in the corner probably 10 miles an hour faster than we normally do. Those brake rotors on fire, cherry red, and a lot of that is the speed to be able to use at night. And sometimes we have that in the daytime. You just can't see the red glow. But don't be misled about the brakes. It's not a dangerous condition when they get red. These cars use a metallic brake pad. The rotor is metal, the brake pad is metal. The hotter they get, the better they stop.
40 laps are now complete, and Wallace, trying to make it a walkover out here, pulls himself to a 7-car length advantage, 8-car length advantage. He draws a bead on getting away from everybody. He'd like to find some lap cars to play with out here. Not the case at the moment. Kowicki lies second, Allison third, Urban fourth, Earnhardt remains fifth, Mark Martin is sixth, with Kyle Petty in his second appearance since that awful crash back in May at Talladega, having another really good run. He had a fine run. He was running up in fourth over there at Darlington and the Motor Way with Borka Belt.
Well, Ken, we're starting to see some of the great things about night racing. Visual acuity. Not only do you have all that grandstand and things in the driver's peripheral, but the fan, just like night baseball. Your focus is right on the cars and on the action, and you see those things you don't see in the daytime. You see brake rotors glowing, chassis scraping on the asphalt, and lots of other things. 43 laps complete. We'll be right back to Richmond.
Fred Reinstein? I've been trying to reach you on the ISO all since the beginning, and I don't think you're hearing me. Want to check that?
Norwegian Cruise Line.
Fine. Yep.
Who do I throw to, please? Okay.
You also have car 21 running very slowly. Dale Jarrett is really off the pace.
He just pitted, Ken.
Yeah, I saw him. He's just not coming back up to speed.
Looks like they're closing in on Rusty a little bit.
Of 400 laps complete at Richmond. Rusty Wallace trying to sail away from the field, and that sets up our newest award. Norwegian Cruise Lines has the Sail Away Award for the driver that can open up the biggest lead on the competition during this event. Norwegian Cruise Lines will donate $500 in that driver's name to the Richmond Area Christmas Mothers Fund. The golf tournament this week raised over $16,000 for that worthy charity, and they'll donate $500 in the name of the driver who can sail away the best tonight. But fellas upstairs, Alan Kulwicki, it looks like he's got a tow rope on Rusty Wallace's boat right now.
Yeah, he's got a magnet on the front of that car number 7, and he's pulling right up. Now here's a car in trouble. Jeff Bodine is struggling. He has fallen back to the 28th position in the Junior Johnson car. Something is amiss on car number 11, and he's back in 28th position as they complete now the 50th lap of the 400 to be run here this evening after 3 early cautions. Look at Kulwicki in car number 7 closing in, and it's Pontiac in first, Ford in second and third, Eddie Musgrave going a lap down in the 55. The 21 car, which made a tremendous run early in the going, picked up 8 or 9 positions. Dale Jarrett with the Wood brothers has now pitted and come back on again and is trying to get back to full speed. Look at this battle for the lead. Here's Kulwicki, who tasted victory at Bristol, Tennessee. Under the lights, looks like he likes this environment.
Again, at the top of the show, he also said that the more races he runs, the smarter he gets on how he needs to run his car and save the race car. He let Rusty streak out there. He's paced himself good. Now he's trying to reel him in and see if he can lead the race. Evidently, Rusty has slowed down just a little bit because we have Kulwicki and Davey Allison closing that gap in a hurry.
And the Haviland in-car camera with Davey Allison goes down to the bottom of the racetrack. 3-car battle for the lead. Davey Allison trying to get beneath Kulwicki. He throws the block in turn number 1 and zeroes in again on number 2, Rusty Wallace. Back straightaway. There you see the front 3. Coming around to complete 54 laps this time. Rusty Wallace in the lead. Alan Kulwicki is second. Davey Allison fades to the outside a bit as they come back in the main straightaway.
Yeah, he tried him inside several laps. He's going to try the outside of the racetrack. Davey's car with the Robbie Yates engine has been exceptionally strong the last couple of months. He's got a lot of horsepower in that car.
He sure has. He's got himself some victories this year. We saw him win the Winston, won the 600 at Charlotte, came right back, won the 400 in Michigan, and then had that tremendous struggle with Dale Jarrett right to the finish line at the second race in Michigan, in which he lost by a matter of 8 inches. But make no mistake about it, the Larry McReynolds crew, number 28 spinner down here. Is that Chad Little's car?
Chad Little.
That's Chad Little's number 19 coming to rest and bringing out our 4th caution of the night. The runner from the Northwest having difficulty and brings out another flag. Back to the line they race, and as they come to the stripe, ease out of the throttle a little there. They were motioning to each other, giving the hand signals because there was a car down up here in the corner. Rusty Wallace stays in first, Kowicki in second, Davey Allison third, Ernie Irvin will pull up. And Earnhardt, who's made that move from 16th to 5th, I think we're going to hear more from him before this night is over.
Looks like we're going to see some pit action on this.
Indeed we are. We'll be back with more from Richmond in a moment.
The leaders are pitting. Lead cars pit road.
Looks like everybody's doing 4 tires.
Have been paid by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, maker of Goodyear Eagles, the choice of every team.
Earnhardt beat everybody out.
What's new?
Yeah.
Promotional fees and consideration have been paid by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, maker of Goodyear Eagles, the choice of every team.
But he can't hear me when I answer him back.
He can't hear you, right?
He can't hear me.
All right, you're making...
Promotional fees and consideration have been paid by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, maker of Goodyear Eagles, the choice of every team and every driver at every Winston Cup race, and by First Brands Corporation, maker of STP racing products, and by the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
Our pilots fly the world's most advanced aircraft. We keep the planes in top flight condition.
59 laps have been completed of the 400. Chad Little's car is being pushed back to the garage area. It stopped again down on pit road. And so the car that's now crewed by Harry Hyde is rolling back into the garage area. And guess what happened? Watching tonight, TBS, the big show here at Richmond. Sure is. Dandy. Popping out in front, car number 3, Earnhardt. Pit road, that's where it made the difference.
Again, that's got to be
first.
That's got to be a good feeling. You know, he started back there, he worked his way up close to the front, had to use up a lot of car, and he couldn't got to pit. They couldn't go any further, and you pit, and the guys stick you back out front. So it just seems to be an endless deal on pit road. Those guys capable of doing that.
So defending champion in this event on this track, Dale Earnhardt is back in command, and what a record he has here in 25 races. Earnhardt's been in the top 10 22 times, 18 top 5 finishes. Some story on car number 3, Earnhardt, as they get ready to cut loose again. Coming around to complete 61 this time. Pace car drops off, and here they come out of the hole with Earnhardt first, Kowicki second, Rusty Wallace, who had been leading till now, back in third. Kyle Petty, a good stout fourth. Ernie Irvin in fifth. Davey Allison sixth, and as you watch them down to the corner, that's Darrell Waltrip in seventh. Mark Martin is in eighth, and Harry Gamp runs ninth. Morgan Shepherd's 10th. 75 car, lap down. Joe Rupp.
Ken Allen Kowicki was really running all over Rusty Wallace a while ago, and he might have something for Earnhardt here. His car seems to really be able to work low, and Dale's car's shoving out up in the middle of the corner a little bit. So if Kowicki can get that thing down under him, he's got a good chance to get on around it.
Chevy Ford battle for the lead. Earnhardt leads the way. The Ford of Kowicki right there, and the Pontiac lies third. Here comes that Ford back to the bottom. The Chevy holds him off another time. Almost 3 wide in the main straightaway.
Let's just throw a Pontiac in there for good measure on the bottom.
Number 7. Oh, number 3 gets hit. Rusty Wallace taking a piece out of car number 3, Earnhardt, and that swaps them around a little. Here comes Davey. Here comes Urban. And Wallace drops back a bit as there was some full contact Saturday night stock car racing going on out there.
Ken, Earnhardt is notorious for when you pass him to dive right back under and try to get back to that very same corner. He made that move, and Rusty had an opening and got under there, and they got together coming off the corner.
A little blind in those shadows coming off the turns here at night?
Either a little blind or you don't care.
Lead. 8 car lengths belongs to Kowicki. Battle is for second spot as they come back to the line. Ernie Urban's there on the bottom of the racetrack. He was in a real slugfest last night. Mike Joy has more on that a little later tonight.
Yeah, this Ford Chevrolet battle is really interesting because in NASCAR's history books it shows that Ford leads with wins with 374. Chevrolet is second with 373. If a Chevy driver wins tonight, they tie the all-time win record with Ford. So it's obvious that the battle is to keep that lead on the part of Alan Kowicki.
Got a couple of Chevys now up into that second and third spot. Fords are running first and fourth. And there you see Davey Allison's Ford going down into turn number 3, trying the inside. Davey Allison trying to sneak through there on Dale Earnhardt. Even across the line, Earnhardt on the outside. Back they climb the banking. Turns 1 and 2, and Earnhardt stays right there on the outside. Hangs in. This is lap 68. Pennzoil aerial platform giving us the grand picture on this 3/4 mile Richmond International Raceway here on the Superstation tonight. It's Saturday night racing at its best. Richmond International Raceway where it's happening. And this squabble right here is deciding third spot, while Alan Kowicki continues to lead with Ernie Urban in second. And there you see them up in front. There's Allison, followed by the number 3 car in fourth. Rusty Wallace in fifth. Darrell Waltrip now lies 6th. You're riding with Davey Allison in the Haviland car. 4th place machine for the lead. The Ford of Kowicki under pressure from Ernie Urban.
A while ago, Kowicki was able to use the inside of the racetrack to get position on Earnhardt, and now it seems as though the 4 car is capable of even getting a little bit lower at times. He swings out wide, it cuts right back across the bottom. He's made several good runs at him.
Well, Alan Kowicki just called his crew and said, hey, is anybody running a better line than I am? Is the top the place to be running? Well, last night in the Busch Grand National race here, the line kept moving up the racetrack, but Kowicki is making time on the low side. Earnhardt, meanwhile, does not seem to be able to stay on the bottom line. He's opening up a big hole underneath him between turns 1 and 2 on almost every lap. The clue right now seems to be stay down on the bottom and you're okay, and that's exactly what your leader's doing.
Now there you see Alan Kowicki with that little higher line, and Ernie Urban trying to sneak up on the inside. Kowicki in the 7 car. Winner at Phoenix back in '88. Winner at Rockingham. Winner at Bristol. For his 3 wins, staying just barely in front until he came into the back straightaway, and zoom, it went away.
It seems like anyone that lets it get a nose up under him here, just like where Dave Allison made this move on Kowicki, the big bow in the front straightaway, the outside car's got to run a lot further line. Automatically, the inside guy gets position going in the corner.
So Davey Allison taking the spot back here. Allison going up into second. Let's take a look at a race summary here. What we've experienced. Those first 57 laps were all in favor of Rusty Wallace. Then under caution, Richard Petty got himself a lap. Dale Earnhardt took over for a while, and now it's been Alan Kowicki until just a moment ago when Ernie Urban went up in front. Ernie Urban now has his hands full in this Chevy Ford battle. That's how we got this race underway tonight. We've now completed 75 laps this time by. Here's Davey Allison putting the heat to Ernie Urban as they cross the line and go into turn number 1, and Davey Allison is set for it. Ernie Urban Irvin holds him off on the outside out of 2.
Good battle right here. Davey can get position. The 4 car's got a lot of motor. The 28's got a lot of motor. It's going to be who can get the inside and work the best.
Ernie Irvin really come into his own. He's had a lot of controversy this year, but he's won at Watkins Glen. Of course, he won the Daytona 500. And for the moment, he has the advantage here at Richmond. You know, with the seats they have here, this is now, what, the 4th largest track as far as seating is concerned, and every one of them sold. They've been out to 65,000 crowds. And you'll note from these high pictures once in a while as you continue to watch this battle for the lead that the infield looks sparse. Well, that's because it's been closed. It's preferential treatment for only those involved in the race parked in the infield tonight. Nobody else is allowed in there. That's why it doesn't look as jammed as we've seen it in the past. Battle for the lead continues, and it's Irvin by less than a car length over Davey Allison. Working lap 79.
Ken, I'm not so sure that this night racing was not treating us to this. The fact that good cool track working 2 grooves. We saw last night several different grooves working good.
Look at this third place battle. There's the number 2, Rusty Wallace in the Pontiac, and Alan Kulwicki right alongside. Grand racing.
Ken, I was really concerned. See the right front tire of Rusty's car? All the writing has gone off of it, and a big fender caved in right there. That's where he got him Earnhardt. See the rotor cherry red going in the corner? I was concerned that that bump had knocked the toe end out. He fell way off the pace. He's probably, even if the toe end's out, Rusty's learning now to adapt to a little bit different feel. You can correct with that from the driver's seat, and he's got the car going back to the front. The rotors are cherry red on this car when he has to run it hard down in the corner like that. Doesn't seem to have hurt it. Look at the rotors on that car. That's red metal blinking off those things.
4 and the 28 continue to mix it up in front. Cars numbers 4 and 28 battling for the lead. Here comes Allison back on the inside. Lap 81 complete. We've got 1 car in trouble. Rick Mast has bent up car number 1. There's no caution out. He's limping down out of turn number 2. Drops to the bottom of the racetrack to let him through. So the Jackson brothers, car number 1 that was upside down at Talladega in that altercation with Buddy Baker's having trouble again tonight, trying to get back into the pits and see if there's any remedy there. He's going a lap down. Leader continues to be Irvin. And here comes Davey Allison back for another counterattack.
Ernie seems to be content to give Davey that inside line because he's making such a strong run off the corner. So every time we've seen it before, when you give the inside up, you lose position. Ernie's able to make a strong run on the outside and able to hold Davey off.
But like you said a moment ago, Neil, the guy on the move is that man back in 3rd spot that you see from our high camera. At number 2, that Pontiac is closing in again. It's Chevy, Ford, Pontiac. Great dice.
When Rusty got into that little allocation with Earnhardt a while ago, he probably had to reassure himself and just see what was wrong with the race car. It took a pretty good lick, and now he's got it under him again, and he's coming to the front.
Rusty Wallace closing back in again as Davey Allison again attacks the leader. Dandy battle. 84 of 400 laps are complete at Richmond International Raceway. It's Ernie Irvin in 1st, Davey Allison in 2nd, and here again the battle for the lead heats up as Davey Allison tries for the inside. He's there this time.
That's the best shot he's had. And now we'll have to see if he can match him with power up off the corner from the inside. Here comes Irvin on the outside making a strong run. This is the first time Davey's held that good a position getting in turn 3.
And here's where it can make the difference. You really have to pinch it on the bottom of the racetrack. Just grazing, and Allison has to lift.
The key word there was pinch. He pinched the car down. Davey did the nose of the car down. The rear came around. Rear-wheel drive. It's got to spin that in.
And look who's moved back into contention. Rusty Wallace, the man who's set on the pole, is there another time. As Rick Mast comes back onto pit road another time, we'll be back with the action. Plenty of it here at Richmond in a moment. Light presents NASCAR Records. On June 23rd, 1991. What? I don't know. Yep. What's happened?
Hello, Bob Kramer. This is Ken Stabler. Bob, Ken Stabler, you read me?
We're going to test Ken's talk back.
Yeah, we need a camera guy. We're going to do this piece in the stands about night racing with the fans. We're down here in turn 4. Bob?
Thank you.
And 15. 7 to 15.
Just pitted, came out.
Yeah, I mean 7 to 17. 7 to 17. Coors Light presents NASCAR Records. On June 23rd, 1991, Michigan International Speedway, Davey Allison's freight train was unstoppable on that 2-mile track. Posting his 3rd victory in 5 races, Davey in that Ford Thunderbird 28 shattered the track's record for average speed, 157.704 miles per hour set by Rusty Wallace just a year before. While leading 107 laps of the race with only 1 caution flag, Davey Allison set the new track record. Average speed 160 miles per hour. Davey took the checkers in less than 2.5 hours, 11 seconds ahead of Hutch Strickland, who drove for Davey's dad, Bobby Allison. Back at Richmond, 94 laps are complete, zeroing in on a quarter of the distance, and there, from the Pennzoil aerial platform, you see the interval. On the front 3 cars, Ernie Irvan in command, Davey Allison in second, Rusty Wallace in the number 2 car lying third. Those are the front 3. Then there's a bit of an interval, about 10 car lengths, back to where Darrell Waltrip has moved around Alan Kowicki. That's been a struggle. Here's Allison again, making still another effort, trying to launch some kind of a beachhead here to pull up on Ernie Irvan and take that first position away.
Ken, it looks as though Davey has moved up a little bit higher, trying the line that Ernie Irvan, you know, we brought up earlier, some of the guys, the drivers question, should I move up, should I move down? Davey every now and then moves up and tries the line the 4 cars in to see if he can pick up the pace a little bit. Settled down and quit battling a little bit and got just the least bit of room for Rusty Wallace.
There you see the interval. That next block of cars, and there was a couple of flat machines followed by up in the 17. Moved around Alan Kowicki and Harry Gant in number 33. He's in this scramble. Harry Gant has moved from 13th to find himself up there. You see the 17 car. Waltrip looking really good in that Jeff Hammond cruise machine. And Kowicki. Now here's Harry Gant in the 33. Gant is up to 6, and behind him is Earnhardt in the number 3 for 7th position. Kyle Petty stays 8th. He's having a good night. Just that hip is still really sore. You know how that feels when you try to get back in this thing and you've really beaten yourself up, busted that bone up in your hip.
But Ken, I talked to Kyle at length this afternoon, and he said he's really feeling good, and I've never seen anybody as eager to get back in the race car. He's really on top of the thing, and he feels like he can win a race here real soon, and they've got the team and the equipment to do it. Kyle's healthy again.
There you see the 3, and right up next is the 42 car of Kyle Petty. There he is, holding on to the 8th position. Now, right behind him is another interesting story out here tonight. Remember that Ken Schrader spun early when we first started out, Neil? There you see, he's just ducked under car number 42. Schrader is on a roll. Schrader has just come from 19th to that number 25. Picked himself up another spot, give him 8th now as he dives to the inside. Gets under Kyle. Here comes Hut Strickland on the outside and Bobby Allison's car. That Buick wants to mix it up tonight. I'd love to see that Buick win one before they retire Buick out of this series. I think it's too bad. I really hate to see them going, particularly Bobby Allison and Buick.
Again, we've been blessed with the manufacturers in the sport with every brand available, and now there's going to be a cutback, and I'm sure Bobby and the guys would like to get a win with this car before they have to go to another brand.
It'll be the first one for Hut Strickland, and after the service he gave Bobby Allison up at Michigan. Talk about meritorious duty. What a race he put on. And it was only another member of the Alabama gang, Davey, to beat him. Here he is closing in on Schrader, and Schrader's been as hot as anything on the racetrack. Hut Strickland in car number 12, just moseying along up through the field with Ken Schrader. Schrader went all the way back after he spun. They're putting a lap on Wally Dullenbach Jr. Look out for him next year in that Roush team. I look for him to win some races. Ernie Irvin's number 4 stays up on the point, leading this battle. There you see him with the advantage, lapping Richard Petty by a couple of car lengths. Ernie, have you changed your driving style in the last few races?
I still drive real aggressive and hard. Just kind of pick the people I drive hard and aggressive with, you know.
Who are they? Tell me who you like to drive hard against.
Well, I love to race hard against Rusty. You know, Rusty drives hard, Earnhard. Some guys, you know, are more of a real patient driver like Harry. You know, you can run aggressive with Harry, but Harry's a patient race car driver. And, you know, but Rusty and Dale and you know, those are the two guys you can really go out there and slam bam and go hard. And then some of the other guys you got to race different ways. Me and Mark Martin race different ways together. If he's faster, I move over, let him go. If I'm faster, he moves over, lets me go. So, you know, there's just different ways you got to pick and race with each other.
Heavy lap traffic and getting away is car 21 spinning. Dale Jarrett down across the line. The leader's directly behind him. No caution out. Yellow flag has not come out. That was in turn 4. As the car number 21 got loose, the leader's directly behind, including Ernie Irvin. And everybody was able to continue on. Irvin stays first. Davey Allison second. Rusty Wallace in third. And Dale Jarrett, who looked like he was going to win a Grand National race last night, collects it and keeps on trucking. Of course, next year, he's one of the big stories. Moves on with the coach of the Washington Redskins to form a new team. Joe Gibbs will come out here with an organization that ought to be something. Let's take a look at replay at this action up in turn 4. There are the two leaders. And there you see that 21 car getting loose.
Looked like the rear just came around on it. The 26 might have barely tapped him, but the 21 was already going around. There was nothing he could do. Got another angle at it, and we see a little bit better what happened. Maybe.
Let's take another look at it here from another angle. I think it just got loose on him. Well, he might have got collected.
Well, he was already coming around. It might have been something where Brett Bodine couldn't help it, but the 21 was already coming around. He's had a little bit of trouble earlier in the night, and it's just not going the way they need it right now.
Let's join Kent Stabler for just a moment.
Yeah, we talked to drivers and crew chiefs, and they all seem to really like the night racing. We've got some fans here that they seem to like it best, too. I'm sitting here with race fan Ron. Ron, you like the night show a little bit better than during the day?
Yeah, the cars are a lot more colorful. They stand out at night. The sun's not beating down on you so much. It gives me an extra day to get back to Syracuse.
Another race fan, John. John, what show you like the best? You like the night show or the daytime?
I like the night time because you can see the cars a lot better and it's nice. A lot cooler to watch, too.
Well, they're having a great time up here. They really seem to like the night show, Ken. And check this shirt out right here.
What's that say, Neil? Real women like real men who wear black and silver. That's your buddy Earnhardt at work, yeah.
So, number 3. I never did get my number on any of those shirts. It got me wondering what's happening.
And the Raiders, yeah. And the Raiders. How are they doing these days, Neil? Got to have Stabler that.
I better be
not
careful
very well at the start.
I think they need to shoot Stabler back in there and let him chuck that thing a little bit.
Ernie Irvin stays up in front, and there you see Davey Allison riding second. 113 laps are complete. I think it's fairly unanimous among the fans. Saturday night racing is still the way to go, and we've got a real Saturday night special being fired up here in Richmond for you on the Superstation tonight.
Ken, Ken, when that fan just mentioned the fact that it gives them the Sunday to go back home, our fans have been so loyal through the years, and most of them have to be at work on Monday morning that drive all night Sunday going home. I'm glad to see us be able to do this. They can go home tomorrow, get up, go to work Monday, and have an enjoyable weekend.
Just put a laugh on Bobby Hamilton, who's not having an enjoyable weekend. Back straightaway, Chevy versus Ford. Ernie Irvan there for a moment. Ernie Irvan, who's got up in front of every driver in this Winston Cup Series and apologized to Talladega. He said, I got to get more finesse. Remember, he said, I feel I'm a good stock car driver when I'm aggressive, but it's a fine line. I just got to walk the bottom edge of that line instead of the top edge of the line. How do you feel about that, Neil?
Ken, I think it's just a growing time, learning the guys in the sport. He said it himself a while ago. You know, I like to race Rusty. He's aggressive. I like, you know, Harry Gant's not aggressive. It's no different than a pitcher going major league pitching and a catcher learning how to throw to a specific batter. Once you learn how everybody plays the game, you know how to pitch it. You be rough with Earnhardt. You finesse Petty and Gant. So he's been in it long enough now. He's learning the guys he can lean on. And some of them, I'll be the first to tell you lean on. They do a little bit of crying about it. So you got to be careful who you work with and how you do it.
Well, he was aggressive, though, and he did get himself in some spots, didn't he?
I can't say anything. I tore up a lot of myself.
Okay. Larry McClure, his car owner, likes the way he drives. And the fans that have followed this number 4, that Kodak car, all year, they must be thrilled with this show right now. That's 117 laps deep into the 400 laps, 300 miles to be contested for over $600,000 potential dollars. There's a $120,000 plus bonus if Rusty Wallace can win tonight from Unical. He's the guy that's set on the pole. Look at Davey Allison. Just dipped down to the inside. Looks like he's got some running room there now.
Ken, he's kind of paced himself. He's sat there behind Ernie, sat there. He's going to have maybe 2 or 3 laps that he can try this. The one time he tried it before, he busted the back end of the tires loose, back end of the car when he pinched it down. He's going to have enough stuff under him now to try for a lap or 2. If he can't do it, he's going to probably run 15 or 20 more laps to cool him back down.
Remember that staying third in this still is Rusty Wallace. And then comes number 17, Waltrip, 4th. Harry Gant is up to 5th. Kowicki has fallen to 6th. And look at Kowicki battling right now with Schrader. That's Ken Schrader down on the inside for 6th position. Kowicki in 7th. Dale Earnhardt is in 8th. Kyle Petty is in 9th. And Bill Elliott's in 10th. The struggle right here remains for 6th position, and it's going to continue for some time before a sold-out house. 65,000 fans here at Richmond tonight. What do you mean?
You got to get off headsets in 3 places.
Well, why can't we just swap headsets?
Because you got to work that talk back.
Huh?
I'll turn it around.
Well, why can't I have that talk back over here?
No,
because I haven't got anything here. See, that's not good.
I got a swap. Yeah, I'll get it for you.
Oh.
Dennis, I'll get it for you.
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. Yeah, this is me. Now, if I can't see the board,
I'll get it for you.
I can't read it from here is what I'm saying. I can't read it. This is nuts. Yeah.
Turn this around.
Can you see it or not?
No, I can't read it.
We're going to have to swap it back and see if I can read that. How much time do I have? No, not now.
125 laps are now complete here at Richmond. It's a struggle up in front for the moment. Ernie Irvan is there, and you have Davey Allison knocking on the door in 2nd spot. From the high camera, take a look at that battle for 1st place.
And Ken, with Davey putting the heat on Ernie Irvin, the pace he has, they've opened up almost half a straightaway on Rusty Wallace. The front two cars are really setting a blistering pace right now. They're using up a lot of race car.
And they're using up a lot of tire out here. Now, these radials, how are they going to take this after this much punishment?
Ken, the blessing in disguise was the cool weather. They're able to abuse them a lot more than they do in the daytime, and they're keeping the tires under them pretty good. So I don't think this pace is going to hurt them.
Davey Allison stays right there in second place. Davey, since you ran last night, do you see any big difference between running during the day and running at night?
I really didn't see a whole lot of difference in the way the car drove, but now our car didn't drive all that great anyways last night. So, you know, as far as how to prepare for tonight, I think we're still taking a shot in the dark. We got to make a guess at it and hope that our guess is right.
Battle for the lead continuing. Allison would like to get him. Here comes that number 5 car, Ricky Rudd, as he works with Dale Earnhardt. That's back in 10th spot. The number 5 car, Ricky Rudd, just underneath Dale Earnhardt, running in 11th.
That's your 2-point man battling for position right here on the racetrack.
89 points separate those two in the Winston Cup battle, with Earnhardt having the advantage at the present time. Last year, he was fighting Mark Martin by just 16 points at this time of the season. Let's go to Chris Economack.
I'm down here at Dale Earnhardt's pit. Here's Kirk Shelmerdine. Kirk, Dale has fallen out of the top 10. What's wrong?
Well, he's a little bit too tight in the middle, a little bit loose getting off the corner. So we got to decide what's hurting the most and see what we can do about fixing it.
Will you make an emergency pit stop for that?
I'm sorry?
Stop for that, or will you wait till a regular stop?
We'll wait till a regular scheduled stop.
There you have it. Dale Earnhardt having handling problems. Back to you, Ken.
Chris, when you hear a crew chief say you got 2 different conditions, that's hard to correct. He said he's pushing in the middle and loose off. If you're pushing in both ends or loose in both ends, you can correct it. They've got some work ahead of them to be able to correct 2 different types of conditions in one corner.
Neil, take a look here. You've got the number 2 car, Rusty Wallace in 3rd, the 17 of Waltrip. There's a lap car in that bundle as well, Morgan Shepherd. And then Harry Gant is on the attack in 5th spot. There you see them in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. At Pontiac, number 2, staying 3rd. Chevy comes next. And Oldsmobile, number 33 in the 5th spot. Meanwhile, up in front, trying to put a lap on Kenny Wallace in the 24, is Ernie Irvin. And again, Davey Allison seems to have a little bit of an advantage on the inside.
Well, Ernie Irvin's not handling perfectly either, Neil Bonnet. He's got exactly the same problem Earnhardt does. In some places on the racetrack, he's loose. In some places on the racetrack, he's tight. They're not too sure what they're going to do to it, but they wish they could fix it. Even more, Kulwicki, Earnhardt, Martin are not happy with their cars at all. They have radioed back to their crews that they do not like the way they're handling. They have all called for significant changes on the next round of pit stops. Rusty Wallace is a little bit loose. He wants to tighten his up.
Take a look here as Ricky Rudd begins to rumble. Car number 5 is pulled around the number 42, and he's getting himself a little bit of an advantage. He is pulling himself up to 9th spot. Got a car in trouble on the back straightaway. Lights are on for caution.
Mark Martin's car is on fire over there. He's the first one to get out of that thing. He's had all that he wants. When that light is on, the switch is still on inside the car. The ignition's on. He's got a tremendous fire. It's got to be carburetor or fuel right there in that area.
13th position was where he was running when car number 6 got in trouble. Mark Martin's car being extinguished out there.
He's going to have to watch it when he opens the hood. When this opens, there'll be a big flame out the front. That hood is containing the fire, and I'm sure these firemen will jump on top of it. Mark's big concern is he wants to get that thing back in the race. He's got to get the fire out and try to save as much race car. He's in this points battle, and he wants to get the fire and get into pits where they can continue again.
Mark Martin's car in big trouble under the hood. That is caution period number 5 of the day. 5th caution is out. It happens at the 134th lap. Leaders are taking this opportunity to pit. Fire out on car number 6, Mark Martin's car, who looks on concerned about that race machine. And we'll be back with more in a moment.
used to have a penalty for tires going across pit road. I wonder who's that belonged to.
You know, I think at that last race we saw, they had a tire roll out and there wasn't a penalty.
They didn't do anything with it?
Remember? Where were we when that happened? Oh, we were at Michigan. You were down the pits.
Yeah. It's probably when I was watching the Hooter girls when the tire rolled. Pushing the car back around in the pits. There's Mark motioning to hurry, hurry, hurry. He's wanting to get that thing in there where they can work on it. Mark doesn't have any brakes on the car. He can't stop the car either.
It won't stop. Champion Spark Plugs presents NASCAR Legend. At 17, Junior Johnson stepped from behind a plow to behind the wheel of a race car on a North Carolina short track. However, had it not been for an accident to Junior's arm, folks from Ingle Hollow, North Carolina will tell you he would have made a Major League Baseball player for sure. Instead, Junior's hard-charging, aggressive style, that unwavering determination, has made him a stock car legend. Junior Johnson had an innate sense about how to make a car win races. Like Nolan Ryan can throw strikeouts. He consistently brought cars to the front 50 times in Winston Cup racing, including the 1960 Daytona 500, and he's tied for 8th on the all-time win list. Retiring from driving, he didn't change. Junior Johnson's winning ways continue. Currently, he's the most successful car owner in the last 10 years. His formula is simple. If you work hard enough, you can do anything you want. Never gives up, never takes no for an answer. These days, his life is racing. But now and then throughout the summer, he goes back to earlier dreams. And you'll find him in Atlanta or up at Yankee Stadium, watching his favorite team, New York, doing what he liked to do best as a kid. Junior Johnson, an American hero and a champion spark plug NASCAR legend.
We're still under caution here at Richmond in a very competitive race, and thus far nobody's been able to sail too far from the field. Rusty Wallace has built up a 2.5-second lead on the field during the early run of green flag racing. We sailed on the Norway with the Wallaces back in January, and Patty bet my wife Libby Rusty couldn't relax for about 1.5 seconds. We had a great time the whole 7 days. So right now, it's Rusty's name that's penciled in on that check for $500.
I think that Rusty Wallace is just a little like the late Mickey Thompson. Taking a look here, they relax best when they are in a race car. Taking a look here is Mark Martin trying to check out what went on there. He lost the brakes. The thing rolled all the way by. Let's take a look at a replay of what happened.
Here he is going down in the corner. He's already on fire. It looked like the right front. The fire was coming off the right front. Again, what possibly could have happened is he came into the pits. He didn't have any brakes on also in the car. He might have brake fluid that caught on fire off the right front. We've been looking at cherry red rotors all night long. Possibly blew a puck or something out of the right front, caught on fire, and then set fuel on fire.
Dick Berggren is with Mark Martin right now.
Well, Mark's wandering around the car here in a big hurry trying to get it together. Can they get this thing back on the racetrack?
I have no idea. I really don't know what happened yet. I don't know. I don't know what happened for sure.
But you're going to try to get it back out?
Oh, yeah. I don't know what happened for sure. It's got fire, no brakes, and I thought the engine broke, so I don't know what happened.
Have you tried the engine since?
I have no idea what happened. I don't know.
Okay, we don't even know if they've tried the engine, but there's been a lot of fire under the hood, and they have an awful lot of work to do on this automobile if they're going to get it back on the speedway.
142 laps are complete as we go back under green, and jumping out in front is Davey Allison this time. And as they shake them out after all those pit stops and the opportunity to fuel and change tires, we have Harry Gant in second, Darrell Waltrip in third, Rusty Wallace is in fourth, Ernie Irvin is in fifth, running in sixth, Ricky Rudd. Seventh is Earnhardt. Going down the back straightaway, Kyle Petty is eighth, Bill Elliott ninth, Alan Kowicki in 10th, and Schrader just back of the top 10 and 11 spot. Leader Davey Allison has a couple of lap cars. Morgan Shepherd, Bobby Hamilton there.
Rusty Wallace just made a move under Gant, moved him up into second position, bumped Harry back to third, and we might see Rusty try to make the run on Davey. Davey was very strong when he was running second a while ago.
There you see Ernie Irvin up to fourth. Through 145.
A while ago when Davey was running second, it's hard to make that move. Now that he's out front, he can pick the part of real estate he wants to run on. He might be able to stretch it out and get some of that lead that we were talking about earlier.
It'll be a big move tonight for Davey Allison, who came in here fourth in points. Ever since May down there in Charlotte at the Winston and the Coca-Cola 600.
The best
really picked up momentum.
Ken, the best I can tell, Mike Joy better get as a racer out and unpencil Rusty off the drive away out there. But it looks like Davey's got the big lead of the night right now.
Sailing away right now is indeed Davey Allison. Waltrip continues to run strong. He's up to that fifth spot, and he's just been hovering in fifth and sixth and fourth, waiting his time out. Looks like he's going to be around before this one's over. 3 laps or 2 laps away this time by from 150.
All right.
Here you see the 17 car working on the 4. That's Waltrip closing in another time on Ernie Irvin. And Gant in the 33. Third, fourth, fifth, 33. That's Gant, followed by Ernie Irvin and Darrell Waltrip.
I tell you what, Ken, I'm just looking over the whole facility, how it's lit up. We were questionable what these lights would do at this racetrack. It's unbelievable how lit up it is. It's almost better than daytime. We've got a guy on our side that ran a lot, played a lot under the lights. Let's go down to Kenny Stabler and see what he's got about it.
Well, we made a lot about the lights since we're here tonight. I'm here with a representative of Musco Lighting, and an interesting point. Their very first job in 1982 was to light the Notre Dame and Michigan game in South Bend, Indiana. This is Jerome of Musco Lighting. Jerome, how long does it take to bring this truck in here and produce lights?
Once we get in and get everything set up, and by the time we get it aimed on the track, it's about a 2.5-hour process per unit.
Now, how do you direct all the light? You can flood, you can do all of that stuff?
Right. Some of the equipment we have here, once it's up in the air, everything is remote control from the ground, pan, tilt, spot, and flood.
Right. I tell you what, guys, if you take a look at this thing from a big shot, this is a huge situation worth about $500,000. This truck, as it sits, about $500,000. Guys?
It's doing a heck of a job.
Yeah, Ken, and he also said that thing was remote. They could turn it. Last night during the Busch race, there was a little bit of complaint about turn 4 in the driver's eyes, and they twisted it around a little bit, and we're not hearing that tonight.
Davey Allison was one of those that was having trouble with the lighting last night. He's certainly not having any trouble at this moment as he continues out in front. The 1988 winner of the Miller 400, and he took it from the pole. Remember, that was the race that his dad started and he finished. His father gave the command to fire the engines from the hospital over in Alabama, and Davey came out here and put it on him. There you see Harry Gantz, number 33, running just in front of Ernie Irvin in the 4th position, and there's Waltrip in the 17 running in 5th, and just behind them, Ricky Rudd is 6th.
Ken, just as we've seen all year long, track positioning is so critical coming out of the pits. There was Kowicki leading the race. He lost a little bit of ground on the first caution. He lost a little bit more. He's marked back there in the pack with a fast race car. And Davey got out front with that pit stop, and he's driving away a little bit right now. Rusty's really running his car hard right now to run Davey down. He seems to be the only guy that's got a chance of reeling Davey in right now.
Do you wish this thing was a 500-lap race? If you were a campaigner, would you rather have it 400 laps or would you rather have it 500 laps?
It depends. If you're leading at 399, 400 looks pretty darn good. If you need a little bit more time, you wish there were 600 laps.
So the guy out in front is always just as happy if it's over right now. Right now, it's 155 laps deep into the 400-lap route in the Miller 400 here at Richmond. Davies race.
That is correct. Thank you.
I'm having a cheese curl break at the time.
You're having a what?
Cheese curl break.
Coffee? Can you get down, just down and get some downstairs? At the Miller thing or any place? Just some black coffee. Thank you. Yep.
.161 laps complete at Richmond. Davey Allison leading. Rusty Wallace, Harry Gant, Ernie Irvin, and Darrell Waltrip. Here in the Goodyear Update Center, we'll take a look at last night's action in the Busch Grand National rank here on the 3/4 mile at Richmond. The Autolite Platinum 200, the 26th of 31 races on the series, and the 2-point leaders started up front, Bobby Labonte and Kenny Wallace. First time these cars ran under dark here at the new Speedway. Dale Earnhardt muscled underneath Kenny Wallace to take an early lead as the Grand National, Winston Cup drivers forged their way to the front. Dale Jarrett came a-calling to take the lead away from Earnhardt. Jarrett, who's won an impressive 25% of his Busch races this season. Most serious of the multiple cautions for David Green, the rookie point leader, who found his way up into the turn 3 wall. That occasioned the first of 2 red flags late in last night's race. In the run to the flag, Harry Gant had worked his way up front. Busch Series regular Robert Presley there gave him a tough time in car 59. And here's the last lap from the high shot. What do you watch, the race for the lead or that battle for second? Dale Jarrett sneaks underneath the yellow car of Mike Waltrip. Presley gets right up to Gant's bumper out of turn number 2. Jarrett finds the running room as they head for turn number 3 and race toward the checkered flag. Up front, Gant barely holds off Presley, while Dale Jarrett appeared to nip Mike Waltrip at the line for 3rd. Morgan Shepherd had rear end problems, but still scrambled on to a 5th place finish. Darrell Waltrip was 6th, Earnhardt 7th, Joe Nemechek, Ward Burton, and Ernie Irvin. How did the point leaders and the rest of the Busch regulars fare? We'll fill you in on our next Goodyear Racing Update. Ken?
Thank you, Mike. That was a great race last night. Look at this now. This is Schrader battling with Bill Elliott. They're back there in 9th position. Just up in front of them is Kyle Petty. And this war has been going on for the last 3 or 4 laps. It's back in 8th, 9th, 10th spot. But for the moment, galvanizing this 65,000 fan congregation at Richmond International Raceway. Schrader Chevy, that Rick Hendrick car, looking grand, and he had trouble in the outset of the race. He's come roaring back into it, and he's tangling with Bill Elliott right here. That's a good one.
Well, I tell you, Elliott and their team has really The last half of the season, they got their car running a lot better. I was talking to Bill in the garage. I said, how's your car? He just threw his hands up. He said, you know, 1 week we're good, 1 week we're off. And they're really getting the car a lot more consistent here later in the season.
There you see those two cars that are battling in the 8th position. It's the 25 and the 9. And Alan Kowicki is just back behind them. Stays in this fight. Remember, he was up in front for some time, and he could be back before it's over. And Sterling Marlin in the Junior Johnson car number 22 is right behind Alan Kowicki at this point. That's the best that Junior's cars are doing tonight. In fact, Marlin and Bodine are running in 12th and 13th for Junior at this moment.
Yeah, Junior, they've really put out an effort on the motor program, trying to get the power in there. Picked it up quite a bit. Their cars, both of them are pretty strong.
I'm ready. Morgan Shepherd's car is a little bit lighter right now. This is a part of his back bumper that flew into the front of Ken Schrader's number 25. The mechanics had to take it out at this last pit stop, and you can see what they've written on it. A little sideline story from the pit.
Nice that they said thanks.
I couldn't exactly tell what it said, but I know what Schrader thought when he saw it coming.
Look at the number 42 of Kyle Petty being challenged by Schrader in the 25. The 42 car in 8th. Schrader trying to take it away. Backstretch, this is lap 172.
Kenny's made some big gains since he had that first problem early in the race. Their Hendricks cars have always had good, strong engines in them, and when they get the chassis right, the thing really runs.
Up to 8. Goes Schrader in the 25. Bill Elliott's right there. He's closing in on these two at the moment. Car number 9. Ernie Elliott down there working the pits for brother Bill. And they look like they're having a really good run. Dodgers out in front of the Pirates, 2-1 in the 7th. And don't forget the game tomorrow right here on TBS Sports.
There's Kowicki trying to make a move on Bill Elliott. Alan Kowicki's car, the 7 car, was so strong at the first of the race, it's hard to believe they've lost this much. I don't know if he's pacing himself or if he's got a little bit of problem getting out of the pits, but that car sure was a dominant factor early in this race.
Impressive run by Elliott. Likes those big, long tracks and those high speeds, but he's looking very strong at this point. Moving in toward halfway, we'll have 175 down, 2 times by from here. Leader continues to be Allison. The 28 car stays up in front, and there he is going around Wally Dallenbach. Davey had a terrible start to this season. 4 races into the year, he had finished no better than 12th. He was back 21st in points. My, how times have changed.
Yeah, Ken, even though with those bad numbers posted, he was strong in all of those races. He was in accidents at Daytona and early in the season. The car showed a lot of muscle early in the season. Now they're getting at the finish races, and it wins, and it's right up in the front all the time.
4th in points, 202 out, and here's the number 2 car, Rusty Wallace, and Morgan Shepherd sticking right there with him. Ken Stabler is used to ups and down seasons as well as changing teams. 1989 champion Rusty Wallace in the 2 car knows the ups and downs as well. And Kenny Stabler spent some time with Rusty earlier today.
Rusty going into 1991. New team, great expectations. 21 races later, 2 wins, 10 top 10 finishes. Are you happy with where the team is right now?
I'm pretty happy with the performance of the team. I was real happy when we first started the year. We really started off strong, and then we kind of faded. It's kind of like we lost grip of what was going on. Our progression with a brand new team just wasn't happening. And so we made a lot of changes, and we sat back and made some changes that people didn't think we'd make, and we thought real hard about what we'd done, rearranged some personnel, and we came back to win again right off the bat after we did that at Pocono. Then a 3rd place at Michigan, then a 4th at Watkins Glen, and they were really going well. Then on the front roll at Bristol, and leading the race, we lost a tire after a rental piece of debris. And then we go to Darlington, and everything's going good there. Now we're at Richmond, and we're on the front row. So I'm real happy with the performance of the team. I'm not happy at all that we're way down in the points, but that's, what do you say? I call it building a new team blues. I don't know what it was, but it's getting better.
Listening to your interview last night after qualifying, you said you really worked hard to sit on the pole. As a result, you're sitting there because of the sponsors or just the motivation for the team?
The sponsorship didn't have anything to do with that. I tell you that, there's no doubt about it. This is the same car I ran at Darlington. After Darlington, I knew I was going to run it here. I wasn't real happy with some things. I asked the guys in the team to do some geometry changes for me. They did that. It helped a lot. We had some new brakes. We got one of the strongest motors we ever had. And we came into this race thinking that we could really run well. I usually don't qualify well. I did last night. But I've always run well at Richmond. I won all the races there was here in 1989. I've had numerous second and third place finishes. I think out of all the races I've run so far at this racetrack, I'm a third place average out of all of them. So I don't know why the track suits me so well, but I just enjoy it. And I did come here kind of possessing it and win this thing.
Rusty Wallace making a good run right now. Started on the pole, currently in second position only to Davey Allison, who stays up in front. There's Davey drawing away from the field, and for the moment, he's got him covered out here. The guy that won a couple of years back looks like he could do it again. Let's go to Chris Economack.
I'm standing here with an avid fan of the race. This is Joe Gibbs, the Washington Redskins coach. He's going to have a team next year. You enjoying your evening, Joe?
I'm enjoying the night, yeah.
Will you enjoy it as a car owner next year?
Yeah, I enjoy it as a spectator. I'm going to love being in it, but it's exciting.
What are you learning by watching?
Just enjoying it.
Just as a fan, but next year, a car owner on the circuit. Back to you, Ken.
Yeah, that's going to be a team to watch for sure. Jimmy Maycar coming with it, Dale Jarrett, and I guess they're really ready to spend the dollars. They've got NFL properties involved. Could be a very interesting year next year with that outfit running.
I'll tell you what, they're buying the best of equipment. They're getting personnel organized early into this season, so they should be prepared when they come out of the box.
Gibbs is an organizer. Battle for seconds beginning to develop here. Here's Ernie Irvin closing in with Harry Gant to run with car number 2, Rusty Wallace in that second position. This at lap 185. Irvin in number 4 on the high side. Battle for second. Rusty Wallace there for the moment. And about to lose it. Ernie Irvin looking for that third win of the season with 14 cars remaining in the lead lap. And here comes Harry Gant with him. Gant scoots through in car number 33. They're beginning to change that leaderboard dramatically as Wallace fades back to Ernie Irvin and Harry Gant on the charge. Leader continues to be Davey Allison as we move toward halfway here tonight in the Miller 400 at Richmond International Raceway. Lake Speed's vantage. This is what this track looks like at Richmond under the lights.
Report on Rusty's problem on Rusty Wallace's car.
Thank you.
Schrader running around Darrell.
92 laps are down. Davey Allison has won 11 Winston Cup races, but only 2 on tracks of less than a mile. And tonight he is really running strong. Trying to pull away from Ernie Irvin, running in second spot. Harry Gant running third in the 33. And the number 2 of Rusty Wallace. And coming up to 5th now is Ken Schrader. Schrader in the 25. There you see him, top of the frame. He has moved out of turn 4. He's moved around Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip has fallen back to 6. Earnhardt is in 7th. Kyle Petty stays in 8th. Bill Elliott is 9th. Kowicki is in 10th. And Ricky Rudd finds himself in 11th with Sterling Marlin 12th. Michael Waltrip 13th. Jeff Bodine 14th. 14 cars remaining in the lead lap, 6 laps to halfway.
Yeah, Kenny Schrader, the 25 car, has probably made the biggest gain since this restart several laps ago. He's really worked his way up through traffic. I'm not so sure some of these guys are falling back as Kenny has really turned the pace up, and he's driving around them and moving to the front.
I'm in Rusty Wallace's pit, and crew chief Eddie Dickerson tells me Wallace has got a problem with his front wheel. He mixed it up with Dale Earnhardt, and the toe-in is out. Wallace's front wheels are pointing together rather than pointing straight ahead. It's something that they can't do very much about. They'll try to fix it on the next planned pit stop. Back to you, Ken.
Chris, we made that observation earlier. We saw the lick on the right front of the car where he hung up with Dale, and it knocked. We were speculating he might have knocked the toe in out. What happens, this is the longest run we've had on a set of tires. It doesn't bother to start wearing the tires. You have excessive wear, and he's paying the price the longer he runs out. And it's something that can't be corrected very quickly.
Well, there you see that number 2 car as it trucks around Teddy Musgrave, and from the viewpoint of the Trop Arctic, car number 66, Lake Speed. Gives you an idea. Watch this car and see how it tracks. The car right in front of him is Rusty Wallace.
Once you get into a lot of time, Ken, where it gives you a problem is getting down in the corner. When the toe ends out a little bit, the car gets wiggly getting in, and you got to chase it around. End up off the corner to wiggle a little bit. And that little bit of hesitation or that little bit of chasing the car to get it where you want it to go costs you valuable time each lap. There's some of that wiggle we're seeing down there. He's running the car a lot lower than some of the folks, and he might be having to have that extra room to work him off the corner.
Using up a lot of racetrack. So, here's Kyle Petty's number 42, 8th position, and Bill Elliott's there knocking on the door in 9th. Great to see Kyle back and run this well, isn't it? And that run at Darlington was superb.
Yeah, everybody was wondering how Kyle felt. I guess he showed him. He had a good finish. He's not just going to get in there and go through the motions of being back in the race car. He's in a position where he can win races.
Almost no limp either. I saw him out here today. He looked in pretty good shape after the abuse he took down at Talladega.
Well, we slipped around beside the truck. We compared limps and compared scars, and he does pretty good when he wants to. He said, if I don't want to, I don't limp. So he's careful where he does it.
Neil, he told me this morning he didn't feel quite as good physically going into this race as he did Darlington. Of course, he had 6 months to rest up for Darlington, but they have a therapist and a trainer and medical personnel attending that team, and they work with him doing stretching exercises and mobility exercises with him for about half an hour just before he gets in the race car to give him maximum flexibility. He was looking forward to this race, but not as much as he was last week.
Mike Joy, I also went over to his truck, and they have someone that gets a certain type of food for Kyle, and the best thing I could tell he was eating was styrofoam. I had to buy it up to see what it's like. I think they use it to put it between boats and docks. I'm not sure it's food, but he's on a real strict diet, and I couldn't live off of it myself.
If it isn't catfish, you're not interested.
No, I got to have something with a lot of calories in it to keep me going.
Davey Allison stays up in first, and we have broached the halfway mark. We're at 2:02 now. We're past it. At halfway, credit Davey Allison with the lead. Give Ernie Irvin second spot, Harry Gant third, Rusty Wallace fourth, Schrader fifth. And Schrader's as quick as anything on the racetrack. Right now, you're before 65,000 fans at Richmond International Raceway. Sold out and then some.
I talked to Schrader in the garage just before we came up here in the booth, and I said, how are you for tonight? And he said, you know, we're pretty decent. When a driver says pretty decent, the thing is usually pretty good. You know, you'll hear him say, oh, my car's doing this off the corner. But when they say decent, they got her dialed in.
You just saw Schrader shooting through there as he zeroes in now on Rusty Wallace, trying to close on that Pontiac. And here's the Chevrolet out of the Hendrick stable of this kid out of St. Louis, Missouri, who does it so well. Sprint cars, 21 wins in midgets, even the dirt championship cars. He had a couple of victories. 4 sprint USAC wins. He really gets around anything he tries to handle.
If he's got wheels, Rader climbing that thing and run. And he said earlier he was going to cut back some of his outside racing, and when he cuts back, that means about 50 a year instead of about 100.
So you know what? It's over 80, Neil. I mean, it's still way up there. He just cut out those open wheel races.
Well, there's a bunch of new cars on the racetrack tonight. One of them is not being driven by Kenny Schrader. He's got one of the oldest cars. That number 25, believe it or not, is the car Tim Richmond won Riverside in.
Oh, God. There's a memory for you.
A little one owner just driven downhill all day long.
Let's go to Mike Joy.
Ken, here's our Goodyear mid-race report. 6 lead changes among 5 drivers. The average speed slowed by a few cautions, 100.7 miles per hour. 6 of those for 22 laps, and only 3 cars out of the race. The attrition has been very light. Those were Larry Pearson, who went out early. Jimmy Means coasted into the garage area, and Chad Little spun. Rusty Wallace took off and led the first 57 laps. Richard Petty led a lap under caution. Then Earnhardt, Alan Kulwicki got out in front for 9 laps. Ernie Irvan led for over 50 circuits, and Davey Allison has been out in front now for about the last 70 laps or so, taking us through the midway point. Davey Allison continues to lead over Ernie Irvan and Harry Gant. Rusty Wallace running in 4th. Kenny Schrader is 5th. Darrell Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt. We'll be right back.
Right.
Is brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far.
Allison leading by 6 seconds, Mike.
Sail away with me.
The Miller Genuine Draft 400 is brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. And by Lipton Iced Tea, in cans and bottles. Sometimes you feel like a softer soft drink.
Back with you once again, watching the 1988 winner of this event, Davey Allison in the Haviland Ford, pouring it on, leading now by some 6 seconds, averaging some 116 miles an hour per lap. The average for the race is only 100 miles an hour. The record was established a year ago by Dale Earnhardt at 105.397. 5 cautions have told the story there. So, for these 65,000 folks, it's Davey Allison's race at the midway point. We're showing 215 laps complete. And now coming by, you see the 68 car. That's a Bobby Hamilton car, which is running some laps down in 18th position as he hits down into turn number 1 and 2. Right behind him is the number 12 car, Hut Strickland, the Bobby Allison machine. They've had an on-again, off-again night for car number 12.
And Davey just put Hunt down a lap just a few laps ago, so Hut Strickland.
Caution coming on. Yellow is on the racetrack. Yellow down. Got another car in trouble, spinning and collecting the wall up here. Trying to get it fired and back underway.
Down in turn 2. Got up against the outside wall. Just trying to get it refired right now.
It takes the look of number 47 as it rolls back down the back straightaway. Greg Sachs out of Mattituck, New York, tears the nose of that one off.
Turned it around and back driver's side into the wall. That's what really concerns people, when that left side gets into the wall.
Greg Sachs had been running in 24th position at that time. Here's Allison, the leader, pulling in. Right side rubber on car number 28, taking advantage. Gantz coming in. Ernie Irvin, Gantz now in second. Ernie Irvin was in third with him. And Rusty Wallace, he's taking advantage of this yellow flag. Real opportunity for these top guys. So we're under caution. 218 laps are complete. Leaders are all in. And while the circus is out here, let's go outside the racetrack for just a moment to Ken Stabler.
You know, we've got a great show going on out there with those 3,500-pound, 600-horsepower race cars flying around there. But when the checkered flag falls, it's going to be another show that's going to take place out here among 33 or so souvenir-type trailers. I'm in Dale Earnhardt's trailer. We've got everything from drinking cups to hat pins to knives to jackets, hats, you name it, it's here. And it's an opportunity for all the NASCAR fans to go up and take a little piece of their favorite NASCAR star back home with them. Earnhardt is not the only one represented here. Here is Alan Kowicki's crew coming here right now and showing that they have also some memorabilia. Neil, don't you think this is a great pair of hats?
Stabler, how did you get in the trailer and I'm up here on top of the building? All I want to know.
Courtesy of Alan Kowicki. Car number 7, the Hooter car.
If they don't keep those girls on the outside, pit road has been pretty congested.
Atlanta Braves, New York Mets. Whole story's up in the front now in that National League West battle. And America's team gets right back out at 1:35 tomorrow Eastern here on TBS. Yeah, they've got their own midway now. They have a great circus here. And it's a free-running affair that we have out here on this 3/4 mile track tonight. But over the years, that's been developing. And now they've really got it organized, and it really is a midway. And you can get a little piece of one of your heroes, a belt buckle or a shirt. Great idea. We're going to be back in a moment as we get ready to resume this race. We're under caution right now with 220 laps complete.
Stabler, those look like 7.5 Ds to me.
Somebody got it for me? Has anybody got a lead? John? John, you got the lead to the Air Force. Lead to the Air Force. We're going to go racing, Fred.
One to go.
Okay. How much time, Fred?
How did Davey come out so far back on this restart?
Got lost in the pits. Yeah. How soon? .28 is 10th, Fran. laps had been run. Under green, 3 about to be completed. And as they came down to the start, Gant was in first, Wallace second, Earnhardt third, Kyle Petty fourth, Ernie Irvan fifth, Waltrip was next in sixth, followed by Schrader, then Rudd, then Elliott, Davey Allison. Davey Allison way back. Let's see if we can get the story here and go to Chris Economack and what the story is on 28.
Davey Allison came into the pits first, and he came out of the pits 10th. The reason being that a lug nut got stuck in the socket of the impact wrench and caused the stop to run twice as long as it should have. He's have to make it up now.
There's the story on number 28, Davey Allison, as you see him trying to make up some time, as Harry Gant in the 33 has the chance to get up and do some running for a moment. Right in front of him is Hut Strickland, and Jimmy Spencer's car, number 98, is there too. Understand that that Travis Carter, number 98, looking for a sponsor again. Tough news on that one. Back to 11th spot is car number 28, Davey Allison.
Looks like there's a 30 car right here. Waltrip on the outside of the 11. And they said something's dragging on Michael's car. We'll see if we can see it from the camera shot here. They're having complaints from the on track that there's something dragging. If they don't get it corrected, they'll black flag him and bring him in. We can't see it from here right now.
Enzo Pontiac, number 30, running well back present time. 13th position.
Ken, down in turn 2, Kyle Petty got right up against the wall. He's got the car going again, but he certainly had it up against the fence.
Meanwhile, car number 2, it is Rusty Wallace skedaddling and getting by and picking up 3-car length. Oh, we've got trouble down in turn number 2. Jimmy Spencer getting turned sideways right in front of Wallace. And as they get gathered up, Morgan Shepherd dives down on the bottom. A wild moment as somebody tagged the 98, got him sideways, and he almost took the leader, number 2, to the wall.
That's a case of the 12 car and the 98 being a lap down, trying to stay in front. The 15 up there, he's down laps. And they were trying to maintain that position in front of Rusty, and they got together and almost took the leader out.
So the new leader is number 2, Rusty Wallace, the man who sat on the pole, won this race in '89. It's a real war. Car running slowly down out of the corner, and that's Greg Sachs in the 47.
We had a report earlier about Rusty the tow-hound being out on the car. He was so strong early, and all of a sudden the car's back. But I think what we're going to see on fresh tires, the toe end's not going to be as big a problem as it when he wears them on down.
Ernie Irvan has taken over in the number 4 car, and with those lap cars out there. Now Shepherd fades high. You see the 33 car, the green and white car of Gant, is fallen back into 3rd. Waltrip is 4th. Earnhardt is 5th. Schrader 6th. Kowicki 7th. Davey Allison up to 8th. And in 9th is Ricky Rudd. Look again at what happened over here in turn 2.
This was the lap cars. Here's the 12 car on the inside, up under the 98. They're coming off the corner. They're trying to stay in front of the 2 car that's directly behind them. They get hung up coming off the corner. This is going down in. This is on the front straightaway leading down in there. They get together going in the corner, and it takes them all the way off 2 to get them straightened back out. And there's Rusty Wallace on the inside leading the race. Spencer did a heck of a job straightening that car back out after they got that. So I drove Rusty completely down below the yellow line on the flat surface off the racing surface.
And everybody is on the binders a little here, and the 15 Morgan Shepherd moved right back into that hunt right there. So here's the situation for the moment. You have Wallace in the 2 car out in front. Irvan is running 2nd. This at lap 233. Harry Gant staying in 3rd, but Gant is having a rear view mirror full right now of the 17 Waltrip, and directly in front of it are a lot of lap cars. As you can see going down here, Hut Strickland and the Jimmy Spencer car, the 98. Meanwhile, take a look here. Here's that 28 and the 25 leaning on each other a little for 6th spot. The number 3 is in 5th, Earnhardt. On the outside, Ken Schrader. He's been aggressive and strong all night. He's been really fun to watch. It's great to come out and focus on a car, to find one and bring him on up through the field. And Schrader has given these folks something to really take a look at. Here he is in tight traffic. The 28 down on the inside, getting through to 5th now. Makes the move. He's there, bottom of the racetrack working.
Again, that's from 10th to 5th in just very few laps. The lug nut problem with the air wrench, he got way behind. He just showed a lot of strength driving under those cars and just taking lead. And then look at him pull away as soon as he gets out there.
And Haviland Ford Zeroing in now on the fourth place car, number 17, Waltrip, directly in front of him. As you ride with him down the backstretch at better than 125 miles an hour on this 3/4 mile track. Wallace stays first, Urban second, Gant third. A lot of glare out there in that windshield, and as they get more oil in that windshield, it gets worse.
Again, it's not only oil. You get oil on there, but the things actually get sandblasted. Even though we're not running the Daytona and Talladega type speeds, that plastic, continuous plastic, see the big black rubber marks and smears on it like you smear chewing gum on something. And it gets so on any windshield during the daytime, it's a problem. And it's a little bit of glare, even though they've cranked the lights around a little bit, just giving them a little bit of a problem.
Did you ever try to drive around something and find out it was a crack in your windshield?
Yeah, sometimes you drive around and you find that there's concrete out there. You can't see real good.
Here you see Davey Allison still working, and Spencer stays right there from Lake Speed's Trop Optic car. There's Hamilton directly in front of him. Hamilton in that tremendous war with Musgrave for Rookie of the Year honors this year. They've swapped it back and forth, swapped it again at Darlington.
Seems like every time we get a battle going, there's something happening. The guys stay within very few points of each other. And here we are on a night where Earnhardt's off some, Ricky Rudd's off some. They're right back there mixing it up, and they're in the points battle too.
18th position is that Pontiac Lake Speed, the Cale Yarborough racing team, and directly in front of is Bobby Hamilton's car.
We heard last night during the Busch race that the sponsor was really helping them out. That little bit of blindness right there, that little bit of hesitation.
We got a car spinning down the main straightaway. It is Michael Waltrip loose, coming across the start-finish line, bottom of the racetrack, no flag out. There is no caution being shown. We've had 6 cautions to date, but that was not one of them. Both he and earlier Dale Earnhardt have spun down out of turn number 4. Michael Waltrip in the Pennzoil Pontiac continues on his way. Look again at what happened to Michael Waltrip here.
He's already got the car turned around coming off turn 4. Thing makes a 360, backs back around and heads in the right direction. Shifting gears right here, grab another gear. Let's try it one more time. Head off down to turn 1.
13th position was Michael Waltrip when things began to break loose on him.
I know when you go to Bob Bondurant's, a lot of these drivers, and I think Mikey did also, go out there and learn road racing. He teaches you the 360 spins, and Michael was able to use a little bit of that tonight.
Davey Allison zeroing in on the front 3. Wallace leading, Urban second, Harry Gant third. 243 laps are complete.
Ken, we were talking just a while ago that Davey was closing in on Darrell Waltrip. He drove by Darrell and put several car links on Darrell in just a couple of laps. So he is really flying up. His next one in line up there's Gant, and he's eating him alive right now.
7 lead changes among 7 drivers thus far in this fracas. You see Morgan Shepherd's number 15. Laps down is car number 15, the Bud Moore car tonight. Not having a good run here. Being shown 14th. In fact, he's right on the bubble. He is just a lap down. Here's Waltrip in the 17. He's being shown in the 6th position. Darrell, do you have any problems with the lights here at Richmond?
The lights are in their eyes coming out of turn 4. That's the biggest thing. It's got a real bright spot as you exit turn 4. There late in the race when I was racing Harry Gant, I couldn't see Harry coming out of the corner, and it wasn't because he was too far away from me either. Just got a blind spot there. Otherwise, track conditions didn't really do anything unexpected. The track stayed fairly comfortable, fairly tight, and we were able to run a little bit higher last night than I think we maybe could have had if it had been a daytime race. So a couple of little things, but not a lot.
Again, and they're referring to the Busch race last night. You know, like we were talking about, a lot of the Winston Cup drivers ran that race, and they learned some things last night that they were applying to the race tonight.
There's that Schrader car moving in on Waltrip. He has to be real concerned here if he wants to start to move into this thing better than halfway, coming up on 250 complete in a couple of laps. Waltrip stays in 6th, but Schrader in the 25. Now they both have Hendrick motors. Randy Dorton takes the credit for the 25 motor, and it just says Hendrick Stables on that motor in the Darwall car, number 17.
But every now and then I see Randy Dorton hit under the hood of Darrell's car, so Darrell made the deal when he put his team together to purchase all of his engines from Hendricks, and that's the engines that won races for him. So Hendricks is giving him real strong power plants.
Closing it again, Schrader. Jimmy Spencer's 98, a lap car just barely in front of them. Spencer's running 17th on the field. There you see him, and then you see the Waltrip car in 6th, Schrader in 7th. Swap up in front. Give that 3rd spot to Davey Allison now in the 28 car. Gant falling to 4th in the 33. It continues to be the man who's set on the pole. There's a $120,000 bonus if Rusty Wallace can pull it off tonight. Do the lead-in to the Air Force Reserve coming up. He says, thank you, Ken. I take it back and throw it to Mike. Got it. This week, Ricky Rudd, currently 12th in the race, received the Commander's Performance Award, and here is Colonel Ron Hall to make that presentation.
Go for it. Thank you, Ken. It's a great pleasure to be back at Richmond for another Air Force Reserve Commander's Performance Award. And with me today to receive this very special award is Mr. Ricky Rudd, currently 2nd in the NASCAR Winston Cup Points Series, having a close race for 1st place with Dale Earnhardt. We wish you the best of luck, Ricky. I know that finishing in the top 10 13 times already this year has pleased you very much. The Air Force recognizes this excellence. It recognizes the teamwork it takes to maintain this excellence, and we're very proud today to present you with the Air Force Reserve Commander's Performance Award. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Colonel. Just like to thank the Air Force for this award, and the Armed Forces, everything they've done, not only for me, but for this country this year with everything going on in the Middle East like it was this year. These guys in the Armed Forces, they're my real heroes, and it just makes me proud to be able to accept this award.
Winner earlier this year at Darlington, still up here in the lead lap. Car number 5. He continues to fight his way through this field. There's Rick Wilson coming up to run with him. Wilson just off. Let's go down to Mike Joy, the STP Pit Center.
Ken, the reason you see that car so brightly are those 9 light towers. Kenny Stabler showed us one earlier. 15 lights per tower, 1,350,000,000 candle power. They draw 810,000 watts. Here's Paul Sawyer's light bill for the weekend. Don't leave the switch on. It's $75,000.
Oh, gosh.
And my wife gets on to me for leaving the one in the garage on.
But that's just keep burglars away, right?
No, it's because we work on race cars all night.
You saw the Rick Wilson car moving in on the number 5 car of Rudd. He's running, has been reported in the 15th position. Rick Wilson in that Snickers car. Richard Petty is back on pit road. We're at lap 261 of the 400 laps, 300-mile distance to be covered out here in and the Miller 400 at the Richmond International Raceway. If you're just joining us, it's a sellout, has been for months. 65,000 strong here in the heart of the Confederacy and the heart of stock car racing country as you watch car number 94 clamber up through. Haven't had a call on Terry Labonte much tonight. Here's Lake Speed's Trop Arctic car. Car number 66 having a good run at the present time. He's in 17th position at this moment. And just ducking by him on the outside comes Jimmy Spencer another time.
Here we go, Ken, down in the corner. We're going to see what the lights. There's the glare. Well, that's Darrell Walker up here right up front, a little bit ahead of this. That's the glare they're talking about. Down through the straightaway here, there doesn't seem to be any problem at all. The area that they've really been talking about is up off turn 4. Right here, we're coming off 2. We don't have a problem. Down the back straightaway, the only problem is race cars everywhere, but no light problem. And right here, we're going down in 3. Watch the car come off 4 right here. Light in your face.
Jimmy Spencer's just taken over in 17th, dropping Lake Speed to 18th as he came bustling up through there. Battle for 4th. Harry Gant in the 33, Alan Kowicki in the number 7. Just in front of him, Joe Ruckman in the 75. 254 complete.
Kowicki showed us a lot of strength early in the race. He's gradually worked his way back. He got back as far as 10th on some of the pit stops. And now he's worked his way right back up to 5th and working on the 4th place job here again, number 33.
This is about how Gant ran last night when he won the Grand National race.
When he was talking about how his old car just wouldn't run a lick.
That's right.
Just plugging along, and that's typical Gant. Just keep going. All of a sudden they get out the end of the race, and there he sits. But he's right in the middle of it now.
Take a look at the season Harry Gant has had thus far. Harry Gant off to a bad start, then picked it right back up and right up into the top 5, and he's still very much in the hunt. And Alan Kowicki in the car 7, it's kind of leveled out for Alan of recent. Alan has been making a pretty good run. And this is 166 start. He's still in the points, but he's now back to 16th.
And he's making a pretty good run right now. He really got a bunch of...
Battle for second place here. Davey Allison in the 28, Ernie Irvin in the 4th, getting at it one more time. They've had their own thing going most of this race.
And Davey just ran the 4 car down from quite a way back. We discussed earlier him start being in 10th on the restart. He's ran all these guys down. He just passed the 4 car. He's got one more guy in front of him, and that's Rusty Wallace. And Rusty's got quite a bit of distance on him.
Yeah, he said, where is that guy that I keep saying has the big foot? Rusty Wallace out in front with a Pontiac for the moment. And remember, there's a $120,600 bonus for Rusty Wallace if he wins this thing tonight, because he set on the pole. That's that Unical bonus of $7,600 a race until somebody knocks it off.
It rolls over and rolls over and rolls over, and these guys are ready to cash in.
Pole position skins game, and the guy that can play it tonight is this man, Rusty Wallace. He can have a pretty good short track payoff. I think that'd be about the biggest. Record I took down, what, $95,000 at Martinsville back a year ago?
If he wins it tonight, Ken, I'm sure everybody will take a sledgehammer and knock their toe end out before each race. They haven't corrected the toe end. He's just adjusted to it very well.
But that's that innate sense that those short track racers came out of that ASA series. They do a lot of hard running with Rex Robbins, and you can see it paying off out here tonight. You get him on a 3/4 mile track, and no matter what the condition of the race car is, he'll make it work. And that's part of the story of the changes on this crew. You change that crew to work for Wallace. You don't need much input. It's like an Allison situation. He knows what he wants for that race car.
Whenever you get a driver that's got good seat-of-the-pants feel and can relay what needs to be done to the car, Rusty is probably calling a lot of these calls from inside the car, telling what he wants to do and what he doesn't want to do.
Now take a look. Here's that number 11 car, and that's Jeff Bodine, who is running in the 16th position overall in the field, as we give you a perspective. And you can see that nose on that thing is crunched up a little on the Junior Johnson car. And Bodine is currently being shown 16th. Now there's your second place car. That's Davey Allison, and that gives you an idea of that interval between Wallace and Allison on this 3/4 mile oval as they decide this race. Looking a little further back, you have Ernie Irvin maintaining 3rd in car number 4, the Chevrolet. Kodak car is very stout here as we get to 273 laps complete. Michael Waltrip has gone back on pit road.
further back in the field, there you see 15, Morgan Shepherd. He's in 13th position, and he's running 1 lap down at the present time, Neil.
He's run real strong. He got down early in the race, and we've seen him all night long right up battling with the front cars.
Here's Harry Gant running 4th overall with the Oldsmobile number 33. He's had a crack at the lead, and directly behind him is Alan Kowicki. That's a battle. Kowicki trying to take that spot away. He's being shown in 5th at this time. Call it lap 275. Taking a look behind Kowicki, and there you have Ted Musgrave, another one of those kids out of the Midwest. He's sideways a little there. Well, he had a handful.
Car got away from him. I just noticed Earnhardt pulled to the inside. He's pulling down, riding on the inside of the racetrack. He's got some kind of a problem.
Car number 3, Earnhardt, who had been shown in 12th position, tail end of the lead lap, and something is really amiss. We need to get to his pits and find out from Richard Childress and company what's the story there. Richard Petty in the car number 43, wheels up on the outside and moves around him. Richard's running 28th on the field at the present time. Petty around car number 3, and he is a back marker tonight.
It looks like Dale might have lost a cylinder, because with him still riding on the inside like that, if it was a tire problem, they would probably jump in there and stick a set of tires on it. Evidently, he's got some kind of engine problem.
Remember that Rudd, number 5, is in 11th position, but he's still running.
And we just saw the 5 car fading a little bit while ago, and here, this car looks like Dale's car is getting slower and slower. When they start self-destructing, they eat themselves alive. If it's got a valve problem or something, it's going to get worse and worse.
Well, that great story that the Earnhardt team has put together on this racetrack looks like it may be going south here. They've had such great success on this racetrack. Earnhardt has 15 consecutive top 10 finishes at Richmond International Raceway, and looks like it's going away right now. Let's go to Dick Berger.
Richard Childress, what's wrong with the car?
We lost the cylinder about 5 or 6 laps ago. It's been missed a little bit there. We just lost the cylinder.
Is he safe in the car? They're talking about smoke. Is there any smoke in there? Is there a problem with that?
No, we hadn't seen any smoke.
Okay, just lost the cylinder. Earnhardt's not going to win this one tonight.
Then when they redo these cars, when they build these motors, they fix them internally to where if you have a problem, it will try to save itself. They've got screens and all in it.
Earnhardt going a lap down at Richmond. We're at lap 280 of 400 to be run.
Fred, on my sheet, it says we need to do 3 of those cruise things during, plus the setup and the payoff. Not 3 total, but 5 total. So we still need to do 2 more before the end of the race. Thank you. Got it.
Ken, we never told them, but the 6 car is back on track for people with one.
No, we got to get that in.
Okay.
He's down about, what, 30 laps? He's down...
Had been paid by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, maker of Goodyear Eagles. The choice...
In about 8 or 10 laps at the longest. He's all over it. Boy, Davy's all over it.
Yeah, promotional fees and consideration have been paid by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, maker of Goodyear Eagles, the choice of every team and every driver at every Winston Cup race, and by Phillips 66 Trop Arctic Motor Oil, the high-quality motor oil for year-round engine protection. Long live your car with Phillips 66 Crop Arctic. And by True Value. Give your home beautiful protection with long-lasting True Test Weatherall house paint exclusively from True Value hardware stores and home centers.
287 laps complete at Richmond. Rusty Wallace continuing to lead. Davey Allison, Ernie Irvin, Harry Gant, and Alan Kulwicki. Down here in the STP Pit Center, we've been keeping track, and nobody's been able to sail away too far from the field. But Davey Allison, during one long run of green flag racing, eked out a margin of 6.4 seconds. So we'll erase Rusty Wallace, and we'll pencil in Davey Allison on this check that goes to the Richmond Area Mothers Christmas Fund. Ken?
Thank you very much. Here you see the number 2 car in front, but the number 28 car is right there. He's close to within 3 car lengths. I think we may be getting a caution. I see a light coming out on the pace car. Now the flag is coming out as they come to the line. We had a lot of smoke from beneath Kyle Petty's number 42. He has dropped to the bottom of the racetrack. I'm not sure if that is what has soured this race, but there is a caution out, and it may be he was dumping some fluid on the track. Kyle Petty running very slowly. Right behind him was Greg Sachs, and it has brought out the 7th caution of the night at lap number 289. 289 complete. Kyle had a real good thing going in 12th position, staying in the lead lap. He grazed the wall out here. Let's take a look and see if we can, maybe some parts and pieces left.
Yeah, got it up against the wall, up in the loose stuff, and it's hard to see the stuff flying off the back. Is just debris. That's off of turn 2 over there. A lot of fire flying up, but something dragging out of the car.
Some parts came off.
Looked like it might have been part of a brake rotor come off the car.
Well, there was some smoke right after that coming down the chute. Make you think that maybe something had gone amiss underneath, but not the case. Let's go quickly to Dick Bergman.
Leaders in the pits right now, and this is to stop Rusty Wallace. Really wanted to adjust the front end of that car. The toe-in still is not right. They really need it. They did not want to take the time it would have taken to do it. They have not adjusted the front end so far. They've changed 4 tires. Rusty's gone. Car's still not right.
Let's go to Ken Stabler.
Ken, I'm standing here with Kenny Bernstein. Kenny, I know that you're heading up a fundraiser for a terrific cause. Can you give us a little rundown on it?
Yeah, real quick. It's the NASCAR drivers versus the drag racing stars. September 17th, Tuesday night in Charlotte Knight Stadium. We played last year. We happened to beat them. This year, I know they're going to come back strong. It's for J.D. McDuffie and the Miami Project. We appreciate people coming out.
Well, those guys ready to play softball a lot like they drive. Don't they kind of wide open?
Let me tell you something, they're tough and they're young.
A great cause. Kenny Bernstein, racers helping racers, people helping people.
Who did he say was young? That's what I didn't get. Was it the NHRA group or the Winston Cup group, Neil?
Well, it kind of goes up and down. There's young and old on both sides. I met John Forrest, and I think a couple of our guys rolled him over playing catcher last year, and he's wanting to get back even with us.
They made a lot of money last year with that. It was a great cause, and it was really well done.
For Darrell Gwynn last year, and this year, McDuffie and the Miami Project.
For the moment, after these pit stops, it is Rusty Wallace being shown up in front. Second place is being shown as Davey Allison with Ernie Irvin in 3rd, Harry Gant in 4th, Alan Kulwicki in 5th. We'll take a break and then be back for the restart here at Richmond International Raceway. Okay. Yep. Penalizing 2, 17, and 28. Speeding on pit road. The leader is being penalized.
He said 28 also.
2, 17, and 28. Let's see what's going to happen here. I don't see any light coming on as they come underneath them.
They will probably go to the pit crew and tell them to come in.
Or would they put them out under green?
They can't put but one car up at a time. If they put one up and make him come in, they'd complain about who came in first or second being behind. So they'd probably tell them from the pits to make them both come in the same lap. How did that sound?
I need this. Is that official? Is that official?
They say they're going to wait till the green flag comes up.
They say they're going to wait till
they're coming in right now. I don't know what they're saying, but both of them are coming in.
2 and 28 are in. What about 17? Yeah, we got that.
Now, can they make it the rest of the way? 294.
Here's where we are. 294 in the book. Field is under caution. It's the 7th one of the night, picking up some debris of Kyle Petty's car. 3 cars came down pit road a little too quick. They were 28, Davey Allison, 17, Darrell Waltrip, and the number 2 car, the leader at that time, Rusty Wallace. Now, 2 of those cars have been brought in. The 17 is still out there. So that gives up that lead for Rusty Wallace. Let's see if Darrell's motoring down through.
Ken, I think he came in the left prior to the...
Prior to it? So we got them all in. He's still a pretty good shot here. Here come the lap cars down to the bottom as we get ready to go racing, with Ernie Irvin in front, Harry Gant in second, Alan Kowicki in third, Schrader is fourth, Elliott is fifth. You still see that 17 up there in sixth.
Yep.
Now, another situation. Mark Martin is back out. He's running 47 laps down. They say he had a burned throttle cable, Neil. Burned throttle cable had to be replaced.
The only thing that could be was getting on a header or something real warm up in that area. It's very seldom you see that happen.
Throttle sensor got burned off too. We've still got the telemetry for car 6. Camera got burned up. We're away and running. Ernie Irvin down into turn number 1 with car 4 back in front. Second spot is Harry Gant, and third is Kowicki in the number 7. And there goes Kowicki down to the inside of the number 7. As they work that lap, car number 15, Morgan Shepherd directly in front of them. Alan Kowicki. They try to split him, and it's Kowicki getting second spot. Ken Schrader lying 4th in that collection. And there are some lap cars. Morgan, for one, still trying to get his lap back. He's fighting for it. He's running 11th, 1 lap down in the Bud Moore number 15 Ford.
King Gant won here last night like we were talking about, and he's keeping himself in contention all night long, making a move on the lap car number 15, trying to go with Kowicki through the open.
51 years, 240 days or something. The oldest winning driver in Winston Cup, and doesn't he look grand? Gant to the inside. And the Denver, North Carolina campaigner out of turn number 2 and goes looking for Kowicki in the lead in the second spot, and Ernie Irvin in the lead.
Is there something about older guys doing good in sports nowadays? Jimmy Connors the last week really performing well, and here's Gant coming off of Talladega, winning last night with a shot to win again tonight.
Kyle Petty coming back on the track as they scoot around him over in turn 2. Kyle is back out once again after that brush with the wall. Irvin now has a 2-3 car length advantage. 300 laps are complete. 300 down, 100 to go. Richmond International Raceway, a Saturday night special. Great shootout, and here's how the race has gone. Wallace getting out in front early. Richard Petty under a caution taking the lead. And Earnhardt dominating for some time. Alan Kowicki got a shot at it. Ernie Irvin. Davey Allison came up and led for a bit. Then following that, Harry Gant got a crack at it, followed by Wallace. And now it's Ernie Irvin's race to win. 301 are complete. From 294 to 391, it's been Irvin in the number 4 car, and big story is Earnhardt having problem. Looks like his car swallowed a cylinder. Look at Davey Allison down there, and Jimmy Spencer shooting right along the outside. There's Dave Marcus's 71 right in the midst of that. He's running 21st in car number 71.
The hard thing to do right now, Ken, is Davey got a car that came from way back in the pack, got right up there in contention for the lead, penalized. He's probably a little bit hot right now. He's going to have to just really use some caution getting to the front. He's still got a chance to win this race.
Front 3 collected in turn 1. Irvin, Kowicki, Gant. And here comes Alan Kowicki to the inside, going for turn 3. nudges it down to the bottom of the racetrack. Nestles that number 7 right down in that low groove.
The 4 car's shown a lot of strength on the outside of the racetrack, but Kowicki's got preferred position right now.
4 car looked strong out of 2 earlier in this race. Remember, he'd always come out of 2 and have that little hop. Jump that thing back in front of that Ford.
When they handle down the straightaway, they're a lot of fun to drive.
Top 3. Here comes Kowicki back on the inside of this battle for the lead. 305 laps complete. It's a tremendous dice for first place.
And poor old Harry again, just kind of biding his time right there, all over the 2 of them.
Alan Kowicki, what do you think the key to victory is here at Richmond tonight?
I think handling's the key. I think you've got to be smooth and consistent and be there at the end. We've had a fast car here a lot of times. We won the pole a couple times, led a lot, but I haven't won here. Kept me handling well with everything intact at the end of the race.
This is the same car in which he won Bristol, this car number 7. And Neil, that is a strong racer.
It is, Ken. There's really no comparison between the 2 racetracks, but a lot of times you'll get a race car that'll work anywhere it goes. I'm sure he brought it here because it's one of his favorites.
That battle for the lead has him standing up here all around this Richmond International Raceway as Kowicki leans. Connor Irvin, number 4 out of 2.
Sometimes they drive better with 8 wheels on them.
Here's Ernie Irvin again down that back straightaway. He seems to have the advantage, and Harry Gant stays right there. 3-car dice for the lead. Watching all of this, Schrader back and forth. Schrader is about a quarter of the track behind this trio battling for the lead. Once again, Kowicki to the inside. Ernie Irvin on the outside.
Ken, I think the guy in the driver's seat, these 2 guys running side by side are using up a lot of tires. I'm not so sure Gant, whenever they sort this out, won't be able to jump around the 2 of them. They're really working their cars hard side by side.
Alan Kowicki looking for that 4th career win. Stays right on the bottom of the racetrack as you watch it live here on TBS. Outside, don't forget, Dodgers coming up tomorrow.
I'm worried about these guys dodgering each other right
That's
here.
right. You got to be a Dodger out here right now. You're going to be in big trouble.
Ken, they're running so close, they remind me of one of my favorite Saturday night short track public address lines. They're so close you couldn't slip a shadow between them.
I think Chris Economaki said that 50 years ago, Mike.
How are we supposed to remember it?
Here's that 7 car getting covered for the moment, and here comes Gant, just like you said. Again, however, that inside groove, if they dive down, that seems to work for just a moment in turn number 3 for Alan Kowicki. Then out, a hard hit, and here goes Kowicki. Out of control. Gant gets taken out. The front 3 all down. A break for Schrader. There's Schrader dodging through. Ernie Irvin is underway. Caution is on the track. How about that? Oh, my heart. The front 3 getting collected in turn number 1.
Gant kept going out of that deal. He was one that kept moving. I don't know if he's hurt or not. You can almost see it coming. You know, they're running so hard, so close together.
And again, how fast do you dive into turn number 1?
About 130 miles an hour.
Take a look again at what has just happened at lap 311.
This is nothing uncommon. We've seen this lap after lap after lap. They're trying to maintain this as low a position as they possibly can. The right front of Kowicki's car got in the right rear. He tried to turn the car left, backed it around. Morgan Shepherd trying to get a lap back, nails the 33 car Gant. Gant spins out of this, shifts gears, and actually keeps going.
And there goes Schrader right down among them. Take another look from another angle.
Here we are. We see the contact getting in the corner. Right here they touch a little bit. Kowicki cranks the car left to try to get off of him, but it's too late. They've already, right at that particular point, you could reach over your finger and turn the guy around. He's got his car so far down in the corner. Gant gets in the middle of it. As you said, Schrader comes through, but the amazing part about it, Gant's car, he did a heck of a job of driving or had both eyes closed, but he straightened her out.
Oldest Saturday night story in racing. He came up on me, he came down on me. You've heard that forever on a short track on Saturday night, and it's happened to the leaders here at Richmond. We'll be back in a moment with more.
How did Davey beat everybody out of that group?
I need to talk to Squire.
Yes.
You hear me, Ken?
Yes, Chris.
Now, on that replay, you could see it was Irvin coming down on Kulwicki. Now, this is that stuff that Ernie was accused of earlier this season. This may bring up that whole issue all over again. If you watch that replay, the last one, you can see that it was not Kulwicki that ran into Irvin, but Irvin who came down on Kulwicki is the way I saw it. How'd you see it, Neil?
Well, it looked like they both wanted the same piece of real estate. It's hard to tell.
Well, I know that, but...
It was a combination. I think he was showing him up and Irvin coming down.
Boy, can we... Okay. Yeah. You're going to show me the score? You're going to okay. But you're going to show me the score, and then you're going to show me tomorrow?
The guy that owns the station cares.
Autolite presents the race within a race. The rivalry between Ford and Chevrolet has spanned the entire motorsports world for years. Been a part of NASCAR's appeal. Bragging rights, it's the best manufacturer in Winston Cup racing. Past and present NASCAR teams have grown out of this long-standing rivalry. There was Holman Moody in the old days, and then there was the Wood brothers, still very much there, and Bud Moore. For Chevrolet, there was Junior Johnson, and currently, Richard Childress, and a guy like Rick Hendrick. Certain drivers have been synonymous with manufacturers. Like in the old days, the Golden Boy, Freddie Lorenzen for Ford, and a guy like Parnelli Jones out there at Riverside, and David Pearson, the Silver Fox. Ned Jarrett drove for Chevy and for Ford. Chevy drivers included Darrell Waltrip and Rex White. Chevrolet and Ford have fought for NASCAR's Manufacturers Championship for 42 years. Chevy's won the title 20 times, the Ford's 9. Last year, for the first time in NASCAR's history, the manufacturer's title ended in a tie. Tiebreaker based on total number of victories. Chevy's 13 wins to Ford's 11 gave them an unprecedented 8th consecutive manufacturer's title. Last year's title race was magnified by the Drivers' Championship between Chevy's Dale Earnhardt and Ford's Mark Martin. That extraordinary duel went right down to the season's last race, Earnhardt winning the championship by 26 points. This year's manufacturer's rivalry no different from the past. After 21 events, Chevy's gained 148 points to Ford's 126 with 8 races to go. And with 319 laps down out of 400, Davey Allison, after that shakeout and pit stops, came out in first place. Schrader's in second, Gantz in third. They've run a couple under green. Ricky Rudd's in fourth, Bill Elliott fifth. Rusty Wallace is back in sixth. Ernie Irvin is in seventh, Sterling Marlin eighth, Alan Kulwicki ninth, and Waltrip is in 10th. Those are the front 10. Davey Allison came on pit road and got out there nicely, thank you, and for the moment has himself the advantage. That wild altercation bringing out the caution flag was the 8th of the day involving those 3 cars. Pirates, they lost tonight to Dodgers, winning 5-1, and that means what? Atlanta's a half game back in that National League West. Ought to be an interesting day tomorrow here on the Superstation. Atlanta Braves, New York Mets, 1:35 Eastern tomorrow. You betting on America's team?
Yes, sir.
Back here tonight, America's racer, Davey Allison, for the moment, has got that Ford charging. He's out in front. Meanwhile, take a look at this. Ricky Rudd down on the inside with Ken Schrader on the outside in the 25 for third. There's Harry Gant. He's mixing it up. He had been up to second by his lonesome.
Both of those cars belong to Rick Hendricks, and there's been races where those 2 cars tangled, and they certainly don't want to do it again.
It's still Davey Allison for the lead, Gant in second, and then this war taking place. And we got a car in the wall. It looks like Rick Wilson. has collected turn 4. Wilson taking a solid wrap, and there's another caution. That will be the 9th of the night. Now let's see if anybody's going to gamble on pit road. They certainly can go home from here with 323 complete on a 3/4 mile track.
I wouldn't think they would come in, Ken. They just ran about 4 or 5 laps on these new tires, and that's just something to scuff them good, so I would think the leaders would possibly stay out.
Waltrip, however, back in 10th. He has nothing to lose. He might come in here and see if there's something more he can do to finesse the 17 car. Leader continues to be Davey Allison, then the 33 car. That's Harry Gant running at second. The battle, and it was a big one. Ricky Rudd, Ernie Irvin, Ken Schrader. Let's go to Mike Joy quickly at the STP Pit Center.
Ken, in our first Goodyear Racing update, we told you that Harry Gant won last night's Busch Grand National race over Robert Presley. Let's explain to you how the point chasers fared. Bobby Labonte led Kenny Wallace by just 1 point going into last night's race, the 26th of 31 races on this year's tour. And they started right up front on the front row. Labonte had his 3rd pole of the season. Kenny Wallace started on the outside pole position. They ran up front early in that race, but it was a tough night for those 2 point chasers. There they are, Labonte on the left. Here he is on the left again with Kenny Wallace on the right. 3rd place point man Jimmy Hensley, first time out on the Goodyear radials. Jimmy had a tough twirl coming out of turn number 2. You're watching inside Hensley's car as he goes around at turn number 2 and spun. He got back on the track and recovered to finish 14th. Defending series champ Chuck Bound ended up in this melee out of turn number 2, and he finished the night in 29th position. Bobby Dotter lost a drive shaft. There's Bound going out with rear end trouble. He came back. Bobby Dotter lost a drive shaft. Kenny Wallace ran over it. That ruined the handling on his car, and he finished 15th. 44. Bobby Labonte got into a tussle with Ernie Irvin on the last lap of the race. Labonte had already been 1 lap down, and Labonte ended up in 16th position on the day. So, what happened to the battle for the Busch Championship? Here's how they went into the race. Labonte leading Wallace by 1 point, Hensley, Bound, and Joe Nemechek, who did have a top 10 finish. After the night, Kenny Wallace flip-flops and goes back on top by a mere 2 points. Rest of the separation looking down the top 5. Nemechek there moves up in the points just a bit. Wallace 2 points over Bobby Labonte, and Jimmy Hensley closes the gap. He's down 151. Chuck Bound 240 behind, and Nemechek having a great sophomore season, 251 in arrears, but still very much in the title chase. 5 races to go.
And they're off to Dover, Delaware for their next one. Ought to be a good one up there. Getting set on a restart now after Rick Wilson brought out this caution period. The Pennzoil motor oil aerial platform here being run by Barry Bates and doing a great job up there tonight. Larry Carp, the cameraman, getting us some great pictures. 65,000 folks here. If you're just joining us, this is Richmond International Raceway. And on TBS tonight, Winston Cup Racing, Davey Allison with an opportunity to win here for a 2nd time on this 3/4 mile track. Harry Gant trying very hard, put that Ford down a spot, put that Oldsmobile in the black and white checkers down here at the start-finish line. Ricky Rudd in 3rd, Ernie Irvin 4th, Schrader is 5th, Rusty Wallace 6th, Alan Kowicki 7th, Darrell Waltrip in 8th, Bill Elliott 9th, Sterling Marlin in 10th, with Dale Earnhardt 1 lap down in 11th as the green flag comes out. 328 of 400 laps complete.
Ken, that's a demonstration of that power of Robert Yates motors right now. Even on the restarts, he just pulls away as he goes up through the gears. And Gant's car is really going to have to handle good to be able to work with Davey, because Davey's car is handling good, but he's real strong down the straightaway.
Well, Davey Allison is trying so hard. He's bounced that car off the wall since the last pit stop. They say the car is all right, but Davey is really worried about Gant. He radioed in and said he is really strong. He does not want to see any yellows. Davey on the hammer hard.
Dick Berger, the other guy he's got to worry about is Ricky Rudd in the 5. There you see Allison out in front. There you see Gant closing. And on the outside, Ricky Rudd in the number 5 car, Ernie Irvin, they're coming on.
Here comes Irvin right through the middle. They're going to try 3 abreast, getting in the corner, have to sort it out. I believe Irvin's car, the number 4, if he can clear the 5 car, might drive on up there a little bit further.
And you see Bobby Hamilton, 68, right back in it again. And the car on the inside looks like the 66 of Lake Speed. He's picked up some spots of recent, and he's showing 12th. Lake Speed showing 12th, 1 lap down with that Prop Arctic car.
Here comes Irving on the inside. Ernie's on the inside of Ricky Rudd right now. He clears him. Now we'll have to see if he's able to close the gap up to the leaders.
And here comes Hamilton getting some running room on the bottom in the 68 car. He's 13th on the field. 66 and 68 have had a pretty good dice on and off all evening. 66 being Lake Speed, the Mississippi driver, and Bobby Hamilton, who won here in Grand National competition a couple of years back.
One thing that's entered right here in this very shot is Rusty Wallace in the black car behind the two side-by-side cars. He's got the potential to move up there, but he's boxed in behind these two cars. He's got to get around them pretty quick. We've still got 70 laps to go, but you can't let someone like Davey get a big lead on you.
Rusty Wallace running 5th, closing down on Ricky Rudd in 4th. They work on Bobby Hamilton. And there you see the 4, Ernie Irvin in 3rd. 12 lead changes among 8 drivers thus far tonight. And that $120,000 bonus, a big carrot hanging over the front of car number 2. 334 down.
$120,000. It will make you stand on the gas pedal just a little bit harder.
Trying to work under Hamilton. This is the kind of track where Hamilton is at his best. He grew up over there at Nashville on those high banks. He knows how to get around these things. He's doing a good job right now. Bobby Hamilton in the 68 car.
Tim, we watched him win a race here years ago. They went in the Busch Series.
Grand National. Great one. Now there's the 2 trying to move the outside. Now comes back to the inside out of 2, but he's got all he can handle. And remember, that 68 is running for position out there. He's in 12th.
He just has to pull over and get completely out of the way, but Rusty sure needs to clear this car.
He's got him now. If he can get him in 1, he seems to have him on the high side, and Hamilton will give him room. Hamilton's coming right back and attacking, but coming off 2. There's Wallace on his way. See what Ricky Rudd can do here next. Rudd trying to move through. Hamilton fading up just a bit, and down to the inside moves Ricky Rudd in another of the Hendrick cars. Waddell Wilson prepared machine here, the number 5.
Rusty's able to put a little bit of distance away now. But while this was happening, they really pulled, the leaders have pulled out probably a quarter of straightaway on them.
Let's follow Mark Martin with that telemetry on board. Remember, he is many, many laps down. Gives you an idea of what he's still cranking out there, just touching the brakes for just a moment. Ford Electronics giving us an idea of what it is to run on a 3/4-mile track like we have here at Richmond. It's been a real help.
That car damaged like it was early in the race. We were seeing 82 and 8,300 RPM. He turned about 81 down through there then, so the car still got a lot of strength in it.
Well, this car's going to look a whole lot different next year with Valvoline livery, and if you think it's cheap to change the look of these cars, think again. Just the uniforms alone on these teams are worth about $50,000. Mark has got to paint 2 trucks. It's going to cost him about $15,000 each. They've got 14 cars to paint. It takes 3 days to do one of them, so that's about a month and a half worth of car painting. Decals about $350 a car, $5,000. Jack stands, pit boxes. It's going to cost them about $100,000 and over 2 months worth of work just to change the look of this car to Valvoline.
Running 33rd right now. Now here's Rudd still trying to move around Bobby Hamilton in the country time number 68. An old tide machine. That tide is not rolling over that car 68.
I don't know what happened early in the race that Hamilton got behind, but whatever it was, if he could have stayed in the lead lap, he'd be right up here in the thick of it.
Up in front, Davey Allison with car number 28. Beginning to feel a little pressure here. Harry Gant at number 33 is closing in. Harry, winner at Talladega, winner at Darlington. This guy can run, and look at him close down one more time. He may be the oldest winning driver in NASCAR, but he doesn't mean to just end it with those 2 wins already. He wants this one tonight, and he's getting ever closer as we get to 343 laps complete. There's your battle. It's a Ford out in front, and it's car number 33, the Oldsmobile of Harry Gant, in second spot, just 2 car lengths back. Now car number 2 is moving in. Rusty Wallace going to the inside as he tries for third spot on number 4, Ernie Urban. Looks like Ernie's having to take a higher line at this point.
Kenny's ran up there a little bit, just the least bit higher than any of the other cars the rest of the night, but he's been able to perform well there. But Rusty, if he leaves that door open, Rusty's going to try to take advantage of that.
Dives down to the inside, making another shot at it as they come out of turn 4. Rusty Wallace is there, wheel to wheel, going for 1. Rusty Wallace. Now watch what happens in turn 2. Ernie Urban has, in the past, just got himself an advantage off that second turn, and he's done it again.
Ken, that momentum, just standing throttle a little bit quicker on the outside than Rusty having to really turn the wheels down tighter. The front end of the car binds up and he can't get off quite as quick, but he's got a good shot on him right now.
Third place at stake here. Those are the leaders. Allison in first. 11 Winston Cup wins, and now here's that battle again for third. Wallace stays there. Here comes to the outside. Urban into 4. Has him going into 3. Coming out of 4. Watch Wallace pour it on another time.
Boy, they're just battling away. And here's the lead now for first and second. Here's Gant and Davey. Gant's got his nose up under him. We'll have to see if Davey can drive that outside lane as good as the 4 car was a while ago. We heard a lot of the drivers mention Harry's not real aggressive. He's real smooth. And right now, he's worked himself right up there in the thick of it. Got a real good shot to win this race.
You're seeing right now why this track reminds us a lot of a mini Michigan. Not only is the front stretch rounded, kind of V-shaped, but the car on the outside coming off the corner will have that momentum at Michigan as well, and often beat the car on the bottom back to the line. Makes for real exciting and an awful lot of side-by-side racing, whether it's a 2-mile or a 3/4-mile track.
Harry Gant going for his 14th Winston Cup win. Davey Allison for his 12th. Gant, fresh from that victory in the Heinz Southern 500, stays just a car length back of Davey Allison. This is a grand one. 349 complete, 350 this time by. We'll be back with more of the Miller 400 at Richmond shortly.
Looks like he's getting a little bit loose.
Laps ago at Richmond, Virginia, you see how beautifully this 3/4-mile speedway is lit. Down here in the STP Pit Center, we ventured out, did a little walking around, and saw how the crews were coping with night racing. The left side of the car when the car comes into the pits is not as well lit with the light coming to the right. So some of the teams use reflective tape, and others even use mixed in a little bit of reflector paint in with the glue that holds on the lug nuts, and they shine a big light on the left side of the car so the crewmen changing those left side tires can more easily hit the mark in the relative darkness on that side. They're making it work.
And you're showing us a pretty good show out in back of you there, Mike. That's that 66 car giving us those pictures, that top octa car, which is running 13th. And right directly in front of him is a darn good scrap. For 7th place, Darrell Waldrop is there, and Ken Schrader's trying to take it away in the 25. Watch this one, Neil.
Blake's car has been running good. He's been running well all night long. There's Schrader down on the inside of Waldrop trying to get under him.
Struggle for 7th. 3:58 complete. Here comes Schrader another time. Remember how quick Schrader was earlier? And Waldrop has his hands full. He's having a saw on that thing now.
Car got loose on the outside. Darrell's car really got loose coming up off the corner, and that might be the factor that lets Schrader get on away right here. Can't match that throttle down full speed when he needs to up off the corner.
Tell you what, and look at him come back out of 2.
How many times have we seen that shot? Seen a lot of shot up 2 as the cars really make a burst up through there.
Most popular driver for the last couple of years, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did it again this year. His remarks about J.D. McDuffie over in Michigan really got to the heart of the matter, didn't it?
It sure did.
Spoke for a lot of people. Here's your battle for the lead. Allison in first, Gant right there in second. Any other cards to play? We're going to find out in a moment. Here's Chris Economac.
I'm here with Andy Petrie, Harry Gant's crew chief. What's Harry saying on the radio? Can he take him?
Well, he's not saying anything. I think he's working pretty hard trying to get by Davey right now. He's got his hands full with Davey. I don't know if he can beat him or not.
Okay, there you have it from Harry Gant's crew chief. The hard battle for the lead on the track right now.
Ken, the biggest problem I see Harry's got, he was way back and he was able to run Davey down, but it was on the high side of the racetrack, the very tracks Davey's running in right now. You can see Harry make a big run, but it's hard to get on the inside to it. But Davey's running right where Harry needs to be.
And Neil, just in front of them, about to go 2 laps down, is Earnhardt. He's just hanging on out there. He's still running 11th.
They're probably just hoping it doesn't go completely up so that they will finish the race.
10 cars remain in that lead lap. Allison and Gant first and second. Wallace in third. Ernie Irvin in fourth. But here's the story for the moment. Davey Allison trying to pull this race out of the fire. And Harry Gant, his idea of a vacation is to go build a roof. He's a rocker, you know. You think of him as an older gentleman. Of course, that's a sheet rocker, and those are the toughest guys there are in the construction business, as far as I'm, except for you folks that used to be in the plumbing business.
Pipe fitting, please.
Pipe fitting, I beg your pardon.
But I remember Harry, when they talked about when he used to work on homes, he'd reach up and grab the rafters with his thumb and his fingers and just do pull-ups off of the rafters, and Harry could probably still do it. He's stacked.
He'd like to do one more pull-up right now, right around that number 28. Harry Gant closing in on Davey Allison as they put another lap on Joe Ruttman. Laps complete. Now we're getting down to it, folks. This is going to go, it looks to the wire, 365 down, 35 laps to go. These are the 2 guys that are out in front. The 3rd place car, Rusty Wallace, he needs a caution flag here. He is about a straightaway behind this pair. He's back a ways. There's those 2 leaders. Back in the main straightaway. And for the moment, Davey Allison gets a little bit of a breather. Almost 3 car lengths. Whoa, it's a walkover.
Ken, let's go down to Davey's pit with Dick Bergeron and see if we can see what Davey's got on his mind right now.
Well, I was his crew chief, Larry McCradle. You got anything more for Gant than you've shown so far?
Dick, I really couldn't understand you. Right now, we're a little bit loose off, and Harry knows it, so he's going to try to keep him loose, especially on the exit of the corner. It's one of those catch-22 situations. As long as we can stay out front, we don't need a caution. Obviously, if Harry gets by us, we do need one. Got about 30 to go. We just have to see what happens.
A lot of tension down here.
When he says Harry knows that Davey's loose, he's going to try to stick the nose of that Oldsmobile just as close as he can to the back bumper of that Ford. If he can keep that bumper shoved up under the back of Davey, he's going to create even more looseness on his car. So he's got to keep the heat on Davey. If Davey can break away a little bit, he's going to be all right. But Harry's going to try to keep the heat on.
Take a look at the interval between the front 2 and the car running in third spot. There he is. Rusty Wallace, the man who's 7 a pole, who has $120,000 in the balance. Extra dollars if he can pull this one out, but he really needs a caution here.
Best I can tell is about $10,000 a car length where he's at right now.
Fourth spot is Irvin. Fifth spot is Rudd. And take a look at this battle for fourth. Here's Ernie Irvin, now under pressure from Ricky Rudd in the number 5 as they put a lap on Brett Bodine in the Kenny Bernstein car. Pretty hard to deny any of these guys tonight the way they have driven. This has been just an outstanding race from the beginning. Here's Irvin and Rudd still at it. This is for fourth. Behind them, Alan Kowicki, who had his opportunity to lead for a bit. He's in 6th. Waltrip 7th. Schrader 8th. Bill Elliott in 9th. Sterling Marlin in 10th. Earnhardt gone a couple laps down now in 11th. Bobby Hamilton behind him in 12th. Blake Speed is 13th. Rick Wilson 14th. Jimmy Spencer in 15th. Jeff Bodine 16th. Derek Cope is in 17th. And it's Brett Bodine 18th. Terry Labonte 19th. And Hut Strickland in 20th. We'll take a commercial break here and then settle down for the finish of this one as it's getting down to show and tell time at Richmond International Raceway.
Whoa. If Gant could ever get around Davey, he'd drive away from him. He just, Davey's holding him up. He's loose right off the corner. He's about to run over him off the corner. Davey really got loose in.
Yep, he may have him.
What's this motor on Davey out here? Gant's going to push him down this corner. Davey's going to slip. He's got enough on him to loosen him up right now. Oh, Harry tried him high.
Yeah, just to take him out, just to pull him out.
Thought he might do it, yeah. I'll pull him loose.
Yeah. .77 of 400 laps are complete. And here's Harry Gant doing what he does best, wearing out the kids. He's been all over Davey Allison for the past 5 laps. High side, low side. Just keeps throwing those pitches as if he is going to try and make a pass, then stays right there. Twice he's pulled up right alongside. Hasn't quite got by. In turn number 2, that Ford pulled away from car number 33, that good old strong Oldsmobile. What a great battle.
Ken, let me tell you, Harry knows exactly what's going on. His key, his best, strongest suit right now is to keep the nose of that car behind Davey. If he can get Davey loose in that particular part of the corner, he can drive up there. He's made several runs like this. He can get completely up beside him, but Davey really pulls him off the second turn. We'll just have to see if Harry can work by him.
Harry's down to the bottom. He sticks the nose out in front this time around. Look at this scrap for the lead. 379 complete, 380 at the line this time.
Ken, when we're talking about horsepower, we're talking about 2 of the best. Leo Jackson cranks out some tremendous motors in that car of Gant's, and Davies, we see what it's capable of doing.
Leo Jackson for the 33, and of course everyone knows about Robert Yates, who knows anything about racing with that car 28, and they're still side by side. Harry Gant has never won 2 races in a row in his career. Going for it here tonight. Allison on the outside, Gant on the inside. It's a grand one. 20 laps to go. Live here on TBS tonight. This is the battle for the lead.
Coming up on lap traffic, Ken, we're going to have to see if this enters into it. There goes Gann. He's got a move on him. It's the best shot he's had off 2 on him all night.
Got him. Now let's see if he can move away.
You know, the report that Davey was getting loose. When you're loose, the guy behind you gives you trouble.
Look at this. Allison right back there, but did you notice the nose on the 28 just wouldn't stay down?
Mashing that throttle, and the thing's trying to break loose on him. If Davey's got a loose condition, he's going to have a hard time. The longer he runs, the worse it's going to get.
And it looks like you could see there the evidence of it on the 1988 winner. Meanwhile, here you see Andy Petrie and company for Jackson Racing, Precision Products, out in front. Davey Allison right there in second. It has been 20 laps that has had 65,000 people all on their feet. And look at Allison. He just doesn't give up. Comes right back into it again.
Again, a thing that might be his way. When someone's behind you, the loose condition is worse. When they get in front of you, it takes some of that away. He might be able to come back on Harry, but passing him is going to be the tip. It's going to be hard to do.
Well, there you see Davey Allison's crew. Nothing they can do now. Just count down those laps. 384 complete. 385 is time by. Meanwhile, back in third remains Rusty Wallace. He needs a conference. He's out of it as far as winning this thing unless something dramatic happens to these two leaders. He's back 30, 40 car lengths. Behind him comes Ernie Urban in fourth. Then comes Ricky Rudd in fifth. Alan Kowicki sixth. Darrell Waltrip seventh. Ken Schrader in eighth. Bill Elliott is ninth. Sterling Marlin closing out that lead lap for the Junior Johnson number 22 in 10th spot. 2 laps down, and 11th is Earnhardt, followed by Bobby Hamilton having a great run.
Ken, when we see Harry right here, he's running 2 car lengths higher than Davey. He's not having a problem there. That was where he was able to run Davey down from way back. Now that he's cleared Davey, he can use the part of the racetrack he wants to, and it's going to be hard for Davey to come back.
Harry Gant, the older, the oldster, and still winning. Harry Gant says, talking about his age, you're out there racing, you feel like you're 30. Age doesn't have a lot to do with it. Oldest winning driver in NASCAR, already 2 wins in 91.
And gaining on him all the time, I tell you, he's tough.
Pulling away is Gant. Our eye in the sky this evening provided by the fine folks at Pennzoil Motor Oil. Great shots, thank you. Now look at that advantage. Laps running down, 12 to go, and it's about an 8-car length look from first to second between Gant and Allison. Gant drawing away. Look at that multitude here tonight. And they say they're going to add a lot more seats to this place. They were sold out 3 months in advance for this, and I think that on a Saturday night, this is going to become one of the hot spots to see American motorsport at its best. Winston Cup racing.
Ken, you know, when we had the half-mile racetrack up here, the fans in Virginia really supported this racetrack. And then when they opened this thing up, people went crazy, and we got a chance now to even add more seats. So I feel like these fans are really support racing in this area.
Well, keep your eye on car number 33. Just amazing. Harry Gant just gets better and better. Remember when Hal Needham gave him that opportunity? They brought that new team out, the Bird and Hal team, won that race in October in Charlotte. Of course, we'll be at the 500 in Charlotte coming up first week of October. Hope you'll plan to be with us. Ought to be a dandy. Lake Speed's helmet cam rocketing around inside that Trop Arctic 66 as he continues his battle with Bobby Hamilton, and they're running for position. That's for 12th spot, folks. Bobby Hamilton and Lake Speed have had a dandy fight here tonight.
Ken, when you're sitting in that race car, they don't call you and tell you you're racing for 11th and 12th. They say that man is a position, clear him. So he's getting word from the pits. We're looking through his camera, but he's listening through that headset, and they're saying, pass this guy.
A couple of really fine drivers. And here's Schrader. Oh!
Schrader kind of blowing the horn a little bit.
Yep, yep. And he's bent something down on the back of the 66 car. There's something rubbing off the back. Wonder if he's got enough time out here. 392 are complete. He's got a handful there.
He gave him a big enough shove to go by him, but it also messed up the rear of the car.
Ken, remember when they used to call Harry Gant Mr. Second Place? He finished second on this series 12 times before he finally got that first victory. Harry has not finished second in the last 2 years, but in that time he's won 3 races and could be headed here for 4.
He got that $100,000 bonus this year from R.J. Reynolds for the Talladega and Darlington performance. But as you pointed out a few moments ago, he has never put 2 in a row together. What a grand finish. He's heading to the 91 season. And a consultation flag is coming out on Lake Speed in the 66. Fighting with Bobby Hamilton, had him covered for a while, gets bumped in the back by the 25 car, and the Trop Arctic machine pulls down to pit road. That's got to be a heartbreaker for Cale Yarborough and company.
Ken, it looked like a little roll bar section that protects the fuel cell that busted loose on the car.
Miller, genuine draft 400, down to the final 5 laps. Gant out in front, Allison second, Wallace third, Irvin fourth, Ricky Rudd in fifth.
Ken, you know, last night after Gant won the race, he was joking it's way past his bedtime. He usually goes to bed at 8:30. After this, he can get him a good night's sleep.
He's got Sunday off.
Oh, he'll find something to do. He might go put a roof on or do the sheetrock work tomorrow.
Well, he will. That's his idea. That's his golf game. Just likes to go out and build on things.
Speaking of building on things, Davy's building on closing that lead down. There's 4 laps to go, and I don't know if Gant's eased up or what, but Davy's got back in the picture here.
Back to turn 3. Final moments as we watch Harry Gant try to win this Miller 400 here at Richmond. What a charge he has put on. Waited that time out. Battle with youth against experience. It's been some show. Down to 3. Here we are, working lap traffic. Backside, Harry Gant smoothly just pulling up through traffic. Didn't he work on Davey Allison inside and outside? Been full-time in Winston Cup racing since 1979. Made over $5 million, but not a year like this one. This is the grand one. Laps running down for Harry Gant, who started this race in 13th position. And he, like Waltrip so many times, easing up through. Then when he needed to, he went to work, and he has worked hard over the last 16 laps. Going for his 14th Winston Cup victory. The white is out on the track for Harry Gant.
If he could just keep her between the fences now, he'll be in good shape again.
Came into this race 9th in the standings. What a run to the finish this year in Atlanta. Harry Gant can keep this streak going. Here he is coming around for the final time. Checkers about to be thrown, and it's Harry Gant flying to victory. 2 in a row for the first time in his Winston Cup career, defeating Davey Allison in a real slugfest. Here's your 3rd place car. Rusty Wallace didn't win that $120,000 bonus, so now they'll have another $7,600 that they roll down to Dover, Delaware for the next Winston Cup event. Gant's the man of the hour. You'll meet him in a moment here on TBS. Harry Gant winning the Miller 400. Cars out of the race, and oh great, that's terrific. Gosh, what a great shot. Isn't that nice for Harry?
Poor Davey was a sitting duck. There's nothing he could do. He just got loose.
Here's my interpretation. Goes directly to him, or do I throw to him? Thank you.
Look, Harry had that Gatorade. Was it Geritol?
Nice. Well, let's meet the man who's taken it all here tonight in this raid on Richmond by the Winston Cup stars. Harry Gant is with Chris Economaki.
All right, here we are with a happy winner, Harry Gant. You can't imagine the looks on the crew. They had big, long faces. You were parked there behind Davey Allison for so long. What was the secret in getting by?
Well, he was just going, you know, so fast there, and I was running all I had. I had a little more at places, but if I tried to pass him, I couldn't get by, and I was just going to wear my tires out. And it looked better like for me and him to spot each other, was getting a lot of distance on everybody else. And I looked about the scoreboard. We had 20 laps. I said, well, I'm going to try one more time if I can get by him going, you know. So I got by him, and, you know, it's all I could do to stay in front of him. I thought he was going to catch me back.
You're a patient man, Harry. What about that spin? What did you think of when the car went the other way?
Well, I was, you know, really lucky. Ain't no way I should have missed that thing. We missed a wreck, but Morgan, you know, he didn't see him happen, I reckon. He ran into me and spun me around. The car ended up going the same way, and we only lost one position there to Kenny Schrader. You know, I got to say hello to my wife and Larry and my grandson and John Derrick and Allie and all the people back home. You know, this is great up here tonight. But our sponsor, Skoll, you know, and Oldsmobile Ford battle for the last 2 weeks with me and Davey, it looks like.
What did you have for breakfast, Terry? 3 wins in 6 days. The Southern 500, last night here, and now tonight here. What's happened to Harry Gant?
Well, you know, the crew, this is the same car. This is the same car I won Darlington, the same engine. And I asked him, I said, why did you bring this car, you know, up here to Richmond? The other car we were going to run, we got crashed over at Bristol, and I'm going to run this one next week at Dover. They said, well, they won $100,000. Let's try it again. So I thought they was wrong, but it was right.
You got to hire a tax man. Congratulations again, Harry Gant.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Ken Squire.
Thanks, Chris. Clyde Bolton tells this wonderful story about Harry Gant as a teenager. He was a terror, they say, and he raced all challengers from Dogs Crossing to Paul Payne's store, and he never lost. It was that kind of spirit we saw out here tonight when he whipped them all here at Richmond International Raceway. Down to the STP Pit Center, here's Mike Joy.
Well, Nolan Ryan, Jimmy Connors, Harry Gant. It's a great week for the Geritol set. What the heck? In our Norwegian Cruise Line Sail Away Award, I like this award because it shows just how really close Winston Cup racing's become and what a competitive speedway this is. Would you believe the biggest lead anybody had all night was only 6.8 seconds? Davey Allison did that. He, at a different time, built up a margin of 6.4 seconds. Best Rusty Wallace could do out front was a 1.5 second margin on the field. That's how close they've all come. So we will take this check to the Richmond Area Mothers Christmas Fund from Norwegian Cruise Line and ink in the name of Davey Allison as the fellow who will send $500 to that charity. Harry Gant celebrates in Victory Lane, and we'll be back to meet with more of the drivers who finished up front and hear their tales of how the race went here at the Richmond International Raceway when we return right after these messages.
I think there's a chance they might run that car at Dover next week. He said he wanted to run it Dover. He might as well.
Hey. Horse hardly worked up a sweat. Well, that's good. But that was nice what Mike said about the sheriff. What was our average speed tonight? 101. Thank you. Half a second, sorry. At the end of 300 miles, 400 laps, the distance difference was half a second, with Harry Gant first and the man that Dick Berggren is standing by with now in second spot.
Well, did the old man get faster at the end, or did you get slower? What happened?
Well, you know, he drove a great race, and he worked the traffic good. Our car got a little bit loose right there at the end of the race, and that's the first time it had been loose all night. And, you know, we caught some traffic, and I slid out a little bit. He used the racetrack and got in there, and he put a move on me. He drove a great race, so I want to congratulate him. And, you know, we come out of here leading most laps, finished second. Had a great night. We came from the back of the pack a few times, and we showed that we had some muscle, and, you know, it just wasn't meant to be. We'll take a second, we'll be happy, and we'll go to Dover next week and try to get them again.
Chris Economaki.
Hi, hey, Rusty. Can you smile after this race?
Yeah, I can smile. I'm real happy about it, Chris. No doubt about that. It was a good run. A little disappointed I didn't win the thing because halfway through the race I thought I was, and I came down pit road and caution flag was out. I'm following the pace cars side by side, and me and 3 other cars got black flag for excessive speed on pit road. So I know it wasn't too fast coming in. Maybe it was too fast acceleration leaving. I don't know, but I'm just real happy to finish third. Miller January draft Kodiak Pontiac ran good, but man, if I could only got up front at the end there, because the car was good, real good all night long.
Well, they told us your front end was out of alignment. Did that affect it at all?
Yeah, it made a push real bad. What happened, early in the race, Earnhardt was running a real high line, and he'd run up the racetrack and diamond the track and come down. Well, when he went up, I tried to stick my nose underneath there, and I guess I got up too far and he didn't see me. He came down, and him and I touched, and it took the right front wheel of my car and knocked it inwards. So it made a drive kind of goofy, but in fact, when we got black flag, we checked it, and the wheels were straight ahead, and I really thought that maybe they were towed in a little bit, and they weren't. So it turned out good. I'm happy with it. I'd like to congratulate Harry again on 2 in a row. I mean, that's something. So
have you seen Roger Penske yet since the race is over?
Roger's been on the radio every single lap with me, and when they dropped the flag, he was on it. He just got just the time, and he's been pretty good luck for me. The last race he went to finished third, and this race finished third. So maybe if we keep bringing him, we'll win.
Okay, congratulations again, Rusty Wallace. Back to you, Ken.
Yeah, he beat Ernie Irvin across the line. Irvin getting 4th tonight. Winding up in 5th was Ricky Rudd, 6th Kowicki, 7th Waltrip, 8th Schrader, 9th Elliott, and 10th was Sterling Marlin when it was all over. This past week, the NASCAR community suffered the loss of one of its strongest supporters, Harold Kinder. At race time, this was his place. Harold Kinder, for 25 years, served motorsports, first as assistant, then chief starter for the Winston Cup Series, always just above the action.
When I give them 1 to go, and they come around, and the caution car falls off, and you're looking at 40 monsters coming at you, notorious monsters, and I have the privilege of putting them on their way. I guess the adrenaline's flowing better than any other time in the race.
Kinder did whatever needed, drove the NASCAR truck, set up safety equipment, worked in the garage, and in that garage was friend to everyone from lowly mechanic to biggest superstar. He waved his last flag at the Legends race in Charlotte this past May with old pals Junior Johnson, Tim Flock, Freddie Lorenzen, and a couple of dozen others under his flags.
I loved every minute of it. You know, it's a job that I wouldn't have swapped for anything. I really wouldn't. I've had a lot of opportunities to go to work for different people during my career with NASCAR, but I wouldn't. I love my job.
As Winston Cup Scene said, only the wind flew more flags than Harold Kinder. Norwegian Cruise Line.
There's only one. What was it?
Malzur, Disney World.
Rights and furnished and a fee paid by Norwegian Cruise Line. Malzur, Disney World. Now, yeah.
Wait a minute, John. John, this is a spotter.
Fun.
Promotional consideration furnished and a fee paid by Norwegian Cruise Line.
There's only one place to find the best things in life at sea. Norwegian Cruise Line.
And by the Champion Spark Plug Company, the world's #1 selling spark plug. No matter what you drive, no matter where you drive it.
Here in the SCP Pit Center, Ricky Rudd's come by, and you had a good run going today. Ran quite up front. You and Kenny Schrader looks like you might dust him for a while there.
You know, the guys did a real good job keeping us in there. At the beginning of the race, really, we weren't competitive. And the two teams, that's the advantage of having two Rick Hendricks teams. They talked together, they put their heads together in the pits, and they came up with an adjustment to the tires and the chassis, and it really came on at the end of the race. And really, we had a car that could run in the top 3 late in the race, and the only thing that kept us from happening was we lost the power steering belt with about 20, 30 laps to go, and that thing was really a handful.
Well, check this out. You've gained some ground on Dale Earnhardt. As of tonight's race, you closed to within 69 points in the Winston Cup standings.
Yeah, Mike, I mean, we're really tickled to death with that. We've been in the hunt all year. We led the championship points back in May and April, and I'm having a birthday coming up next week, and I cannot wait to turn another year older. Harry Gant's blowing all us young guys away, so maybe I can hurry up and try to catch up with him.
He'll be 35 Thursday, Ken.
Thank you, Mike. Coming up, the Meliolo 500 from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, North Carolina. That's going to be a dandy. And I hope you'll be with us on Sunday, October 6th for all the action. And we'll be back here with you again in Richmond in just a moment. Richmond International Raceway, where they're celebrating Harry Gant's victory.
Yes? Fine, Fred.
Coming to me, Fred. What are we doing? Okay. Are you coming to us on camera at any time? Okay.
The Miller Genuine Draft 400 is brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft taste. So get out of the old, get into the cold. By Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars. By Fram Oil Filters. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. By Goodyear, the unanimous choice of every NASCAR Winston Cup team. And by today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why more people are winning with the heartbeat of America.
It was the kind of action-packed spectacle we've come to expect from Winston Cup racing as we take a look at these final results here tonight. Ricky Rudd with that 5th spot, Alan Kowicki 6th, Waltrip finishing in 7th as you look down through those guys that ended up in that lead lap out here. Interesting, 65,000 people came, 60,000 had seats, and 20,000 of them are sitting down for the first time right now, Neil.
And they might as well keep their seat. There's going to be a big crowd leaving this place.
It was a terrific race all night long, and once again, that experience paid off. That old saw about experience, having years of just in the chair work in these race cars was what it was all about when it finally came down to the end tonight.
Ken, you're right, and you know Harry drove a tremendous race, but you also got to give Davey credit. He had a race car that went out from under him at the end. He kept the thing in second place. Here's Rusty all night with the front end knocked out of line on the car. The guys did exactly what you're supposed to do in racing. They had to work for what they got tonight, and Harry did a heck of a job winning the race.
Well, let's talk to our cohorts that were down on pit road tonight. First to Chris Economaki.
Well, I think that the night racing here, even though the light bill here was more than $1 a spectator, the tremendous turnout of people and the great success of the event will lead other tracks to try this night racing situation. I think it's going to be Saturday night at the races from now on. And let's go down now to Dick Berggren.
Well, Chris, earlier today, a fan asked me what was the best race I'd seen all year, and I struggled for an answer. I don't have to struggle anymore. This was it tonight for sure. That great duel between Irvin and Kulwicki. Rusty Wallace, valiant struggle to try to get back. And then at the very tail end, the old veteran and the young Charger going back and forth. What a great race. Mike Joy?
And Dick Berggren, any night you can come to the races and see 8 different drivers lead and have a chance to win it, and nobody get more than 6.5 seconds out front. I'd buy a ticket. I might even pay the light. Well, I wouldn't pay the light bill, but I would buy a ticket, Ken.
Gosh, he'd buy a ticket. Now, that is news.
Well, I hate to tell him, but I couldn't pay the light bill, so I'll just buy the ticket.
Well, what do you think about Charlotte? I mean, that's one of your favorite racetracks. Here it comes 1st of October. That always is a great race. You think Gant could do it again there?
I tell you what, when you get on a roll, when any driver, any athlete gets to performing at a certain level, he seems to dig a little bit deeper. And I know one thing, going in there with the motor program they have, they've got a great shot to win the race, but you're getting on some tough turf right there. There's going to be several guys with a chance to win the race.
Okay, well, everybody here had a good time. We sure hope you did at home. What a great race we've had. And on behalf of Chris Economaki, Dick Berggren, Mike Joy, Neil Bonded alongside tonight, Kenny Stabler, I'm Ken Squire saying good night from Richmond International Raceway and honoring Harry Gant for an outstanding run in the Miller 400.